or you can use this time for a moment of silence. Commissioner Freddie Howell will give the invocation, after which I will lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Howell.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this day before us. Thank you for your grace, your love, and your mercy. We seek your wisdom and guidance as we make decisions that will impact our county and the communities we live in and serve. Help us listen with open hearts, to speak with truth and integrity, and to work together in unity. We thank you for the privilege of leading and serving, and we ask that you be with us in this meeting, guiding our thoughts and our actions. And help us remember that November celebrates Thanksgiving, and we are thankful for the month of November, a month where we can focus on harvest, joyful praise, and being grateful for the many things we have and the blessings. May we strive to honor you in all we do today and every day. Protect everyone in their travels as they leave today to go back their separate ways. Watch over us throughout this week. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Would you join us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we move to the agenda, we have 5 items to add this morning. As 20A, we will add update to Nash County fiscal policy guidelines. That'll be 20A. That'll be presented by the Finance Director, Nikki Stanton. 20B, also Ms. Stanton, update to Nash County fiscal policy guidelines. Hold on. 20C, Ms. Stanton, North Carolina DEQ grant wastewater and water infrastructure project. And 20D, Ms. Stanton, North Carolina Railroad Company Bill Ready Site grant. After that, we will add 20E, which will be presented by the Deputy County Manager, 5 County Raleigh Site Water Main Extension. Appreciate your understanding. We have 2 sets of minutes for approval this morning from our regular meeting of October 6th and our recessed joint meeting with the Nash County Public Schools Board of Education of October 28th. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Without objection, we will approve both sets of minutes with one motion. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Belfield made the motion. Who made the second? Was that Ms. Leggett?
Second.
Ms. Wilkins? We got a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. The minutes are approved. We do not have anyone that has signed up to speak in public comments this morning. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? So we will now move to agenda item number 6, resolution of Nash County recognizing and approving of the Nash County Official America 250 North Carolina Committee. Call on Brownsville Memorial Public Library Director Melissa Corso to present the request and read the resolution. Good morning, Ms. Corso.
Good morning. As many of you know, in 2026, America will commemorate 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the development of a new nation dedicated to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In the years since, our country has undergone many changes and faced many challenges. This commemoration offers us a unique opportunity to reflect upon our country's founding ideals. The North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources is encouraging all 100 counties to create a diverse American 250 North Carolina committee to plan events and activities that bring awareness to our country's unique contributions to America we are today. The Brownsville The Braswell Memorial Public Library is spearheading this committee, and many of our Nash County departments are participating along with diverse group of community organizations, businesses, nonprofits, service providers, and the door is open for anyone who wishes to join in. One of the first steps to creating this county committee is to ask you, the Nash County Board of Commissioners, to formally acknowledge the formation of this committee through a resolution. At this point in time, Nash County is one of 15 remaining counties in the state without a recognized county committee. I would like to read the resolution, and after, I request you approve the resolution. A resolution of Nash County, North Carolina, supporting the America 250 North Carolina Committee for the United States Semi-Quincentennial, or America 250 North Carolina. Whereas Roy Cooper, Governor of North Carolina, created America 250 NC to plan, encourage, develop, and coordinate there's that word again, I'm sorry, my Pittsburgh. The commemoration of the 250th anniversary of the United States and North Carolina's integral role in the event and the role of its people on the nation's past, present, and future. And whereas America 250 North Carolina has a mission to encourage all North Carolinians and all 100 counties through their many signatures and officially recognized programs, projects, events over the commemoration by inspiring future leaders and celebrating North Carolina's contributions to the nation over the last 250 years. And whereas by adoption of America's 250 North Carolina's mission, the Nash County Committee is officially formed to achieve the goals of America's 250 North Carolina. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County of Nash hereby endorses America 250 North Carolina and its mission, and be further resolved, the County of Nash officially establishes an America 250 North Carolina Committee made up of diverse groups of citizens to work with America 250 North Carolina on any and all activities. The participants of the Nash County Committee will be strictly voluntary roles, and there will be no compensation for participation. It is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Nash County Legislative Delegation and the America 250 North Carolina Committee adopted this third day of November 2025.
Any discussion from the board? Any discussion? Commissioner Arrington?
Yes, the committee will be drawn from each section of the county.
Yes. Yes, we have sent invitations out to basically almost everyone, every small committees we found, community members. Mr. Linwood is here as one of the members of our committee. We have members of the Doctors Museum. We have members from Bailey, many members from the Nash County department here. We have them members as well.
All right.
Any other discussion? All right, you've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion? So moved. Moved by Commissioner Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leggett. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Corson.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate the good work you're doing at the library.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Now move to agenda item number 7, Nash County Resolution requesting the North Carolina Department of Transportation to investigate options for allowing left turns at Old Carriage Road and Sunset Avenue. I call on Commissioner Robbie Davis to present the request and read the resolution. Commissioner Davis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will read the introduction first. It is the attached resolution request the North Carolina Department of Transportation, the Office of the Governor of North Carolina, and the North Carolina General Assembly to further investigate alternatives to the existing plans for the intersection of Old Carriage Road and Sunset Avenue, and to reinstate left turn lanes at this intersection. Board members, including myself, have heard from the business owners located and owning property at this intersection who are experiencing the loss of business because of the no left turns. Losses currently reported are up to 40%. Losses currently reported are up to 40%. In addition to adversely impacting those businesses located at the intersection, the new long-awaited exit off I-95 at Sunset Avenue, and it is long-awaited, will become known to travelers as the exit to avoid. The inconvenience resulting from removing left turn lanes will be noted, and travelers will condition themselves not to use the exit in the future. I am sure you recall the board sent a similar resolution in May of 2022. I would like to read the resolution for your convenience, and that's the new resolution. I did place a copy of the old resolution that we did adopt in May the 2nd of 2022 at each commissioner's desk this morning, provided the clerk with a copy of it, and it has some similar language in it, but at that time, we were trying to get ahead of the curve and keep it from happening. It has now happened, as we all know, and I think we've all seen what it has done to the businesses there and what it's done to the motoring public out there. The resolution that I request that we adopt is, whereas it is the interest of Nash County that residents, visitors, and commercial traffic have easy, safe, efficient, and economical access to travel and roadway systems throughout our region. Whereas this project is near completion and motorists unfamiliar with the area will forever utilize the Sunset exit off I-95 and without question will create hazardous traffic conditions for the residents of Nash County. And whereas these same motorists will resist future use of this long-awaited exit to avoid the inconvenience of not having easy access to the businesses located at this intersection discussed. Whereas it is important to Nash County to support our businesses along the travel routes in the county, and whereas Nash County depends upon the sales and gas tax benefits revenue of the motoring public at commercial establishments in Nash County along and near travel routes to fund services within the county. And whereas the Nash County Board of Commissioners has been contacted by all of the businesses owners at the Old Carriage Road, Sunset Avenue intersection, and whereas these businesses owners are experiencing lost revenue at this intersection due to the inconvenience and inability for motorists to easily access their services. And whereas the Nash County Board of Commissioners strongly encourages the North Carolina Department of Transportation to explore how to reinstate these left turns at the intersection of Old Carriage Road and Sunset Avenue and to avoid the flow of ingress and egress I'd like to read that sentence again to be clear. The Nash County Board of Commissioners strongly encourages the North Carolina Department of Transportation to explore how to reinstate left turns at the intersection of Old Carriage Road and Sunset Avenue and to allow the flow of ingress and egress to these businesses. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Nash County Board of Commissioners does hereby request the North Carolina Department of Transportation to investigate safe options for reconfiguring the intersection of Old Carriage Road and Sunset Avenue in Nash County, North Carolina, and reinstate left turn lanes to allow for ingress and egress to the businesses located there. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the North Carolina Department of Transportation, the Office of the Governor of North Carolina, and to the members of the North Carolina Senate and House of Representatives. Adopted this third day of November 2025. J. Wayne Outlaw, Chairman, Nash County Board of Commissioners. I do want to say I think this is a very important item for the board to consider. We have had this intersection in place for 2 to 3 months now. We've seen what it has done, pretty much what we thought it would do. And I do think there are safe ways that we can reconfigure the lighting at this intersection, lighting being the stop lighting, without having to do additional lanes, very similar to what we've done at a couple of other locations on Halifax Road at Westmount Drive as well as 97. And it would serve the purpose, I think, for the period of time, certainly sometime in the future when that area gets fully developed out there. I know this was designed for 20, 30 years in the future, but at the present time, I feel like it would serve it well. Of course, I'm just based it on a half engineering knowledge, but just experience from looking at other intersections. But I do ask the board to support this resolution and do everything we can to support our local businesses. And I myself have a couple of intersections in my traveling, headed west in North Carolina that I'd avoid at all costs to get off because of something similar to this. And I know what's going to happen. And we have worked on this intersection of Sunset Avenue and I-95 for a very long time. We have spent a tremendous amount of money getting it put in, and we're within weeks of getting it opened up. And I just have a lot of fear that when the public off I-95 starts using it, that they're going to determine that it's not worth the effort to visit these businesses that will be signed on I-95, and that would certainly be a shame for Nash County. With that said, I would request the board, Mr. Chairman, to adopt this resolution, and I'll turn it back over to you at this time, and certainly it's in your area, how you wish to handle it, sir.
Thank you, Chairman Davis. What I would like to do is make a few brief comments, after which, since it's in my district, I'd like to make a motion, get a second, and then I'll open it up for any discussion. Is that agreeable to the board?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The intersection of Old Carriage Road and Sunset Eastern Avenue, which again is in my commissioner district, has been of great concern to residents and business owners due to the elimination of left turns. Earlier this year, Representative Alan Chesser, who serves as chairman of the House Appropriations Transportation Committee, brought NCDOT and others to the intersection for a site visit to meet with business owners and concerned citizens. Since he and Senator Barnes, Lisa Barnes, have been meeting with officials from the NCDOT to address the serious concerns about this new traffic pattern, I think this resolution gives the board the opportunity to coalesce behind the beautiful work that Senator Barnes and Representative Chesser have done to resolve this matter. With that said, I make a motion to adopt this resolution, which hopefully will help our county's delegation to the General Assembly fix this matter. Is there a second?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Any further discussion?
Yeah,
Commissioner Belfield.
I think one question I was going to ask the total delegation that represent Nash County get a copy of that first resolution.
Yes, sir, I'm sure
They did. And the other question is, using the word investigation, in my mind, they're coming and do an investigation and say, well, it's the same, but we want them to change it. And I think we ought to say that pretty strong, that we want it changed.
I think the resolution states that pretty strong, Mr. Belfield.
Well, it's got that word investigate, and they can get by it. So we
This board cannot
investigate.
dictate to the DOT what they do, sir.
Well,
Respectfully, I offer that. I think we are reaching out, we're trying to make a change, and I think we're doing it in the right way, but I appreciate your comments.
okay.
Commissioner Howell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to add to Chairman Outlaw's comments. He mentioned earlier, I was at the meeting that Representative Chesner organized back in July. He pulled together folks from NCDOT, the legislative staff from the General Assembly. Melvin Mitchell was there, the State Board of Transportation, and also a number of residents and business owners mentioned were at that meeting also. And it was clear that the NCDOT is reviewing this and that the situation has to be complete because the project's already started before anything can be done. And of course, as completion of it is done, they need to study the data from it. Of course, they need to get itemized data from time when schools are in and holidays and everything else to get accurate information to be able to do that. So they're currently doing that. And then, once the NCDOT reviews this situation, there's supposed to be a follow-up session a couple months ahead of now. I just want to emphasize how much work our senator and our representative have put into trying to straighten this out. And this intersection affects both people in the northern end and the southern end of the county. And I believe our board joining Lisa and Alan in this is what they've done so far and working towards getting a fix will go a long ways in helping this get resolved.
Any further discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Leggett?
Okay. I believe that when it comes to re-engineering an intersection, I think the primary consideration needs to be the safety of the general public first, the ones who travel this area, and then the secondary consideration should be the convenience factor, and then the businesses located at the intersection. But with these things considered, I would support the resolution.
Any other discussion?
Yes.
Commissioner Arrington?
Well, I think, first of all, for the public to try to understand what reasons did the Department of Transportation, the engineer, give for the present plan, since we sent a resolution in opposing no left turns. It's still unclear, I think, to the public and myself, why the engineering and transportation department are so adamant about having this particular type of roundabout.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Wilkins?
Mr. Chairman, as Commissioner Arrington just said, the resolution was sent in, and my question is, how did our representatives, as you all said, Cheshire and Barnes, let this happen to begin with? Why wasn't it stopped before it happened? My memory serves me correctly, the businesses had comments, they complained about it, and I don't recall our legislatures doing anything to stop it. And if I'm wrong, I apologize, but I do plan to support this resolution. But here again, those left turn lanes should never have been put up there.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Davis?
Mr. Chairman, I would point out that Representative Chesser was not in office at the time that you and I worked with another representative at that time who held that seat.
I remember that, Representative.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. That resolution is adopted. I appreciate the healthy discussion on that. We'll now move.
I'd like to make
Commissioner
one more
Davis.
comment on it if I could. I do think it would be advantageous for us to consider sending it to each one of our representatives and senators. I think it might have a little more effect, primarily because there are other areas in the state dealing with an intersection of this nature. I did take the time to call those areas representatives, and I do know that they would be certainly willing to help with this situation. So it might be something we would consider. The resolution itself says send it to our local ones, but if the board would be in favor, I'd like to see us send it to all representatives and senators.
Is there any objection to that request?
No objections, mainly the Senate Majority Leader and the House Representative Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Commissioner Davis. We'll now move to agenda item number 8, public hearing on conditional rezoning request, CZ 250903, West Horns Church Road subdivision. Call on our planning director, Adam Tyson, to present the request. Good morning, Mr. Tyson.
Good morning. You have 2 planning items on your agenda this morning. As the chairman just stated, the first does require a public hearing, as it is a request to amend the zoning map. The subject property of this morning's request includes 2 adjacent tracts of undeveloped land that are highlighted in red on the maps on the screen before you. These properties total 43.8 acres. They're both currently owned by Joan Joyner Taylor. And as you can see, they're located on the west side of West Orange Church Road. This is in southern Nash County and northeast of the town of Bailey. You can see in the zoning map on the right side of your screen that this area is generally zoned R40, single-family residential, which is that green color you see dominating the zoning map there. The prospective developer, the C.T. Williams Corporation, is before the board this morning requesting a conditional rezoning of the subject property to RA30CZ, single-family residential conditional zone, specifically for the development of the proposed 46-lot residential West Orange Church Road subdivision. Approval of this request by the board would have three substantial impacts. The first and most obvious would be an increase in the permitted residential density, as the minimum lot area requirement would be reduced from 40,000 square feet per lot to 30,000 square feet per lot. Secondly, double-wide manufactured homes are currently permitted for development in this R40 zoning district, but they would no longer be permitted for development under the more restrictive RA30CZ zoning district that is proposed this morning. And number three, the subject property, of course, could only be developed in accordance with the proposed subdivision sketch plan, as that would be a condition of this conditional rezoning. And of course, additional conditions can be attached, provided that they are reasonable, site-specific, and with the consent of the applicant. If we turn our attention to the proposed sketch plan, West Orange Church Road, this is oriented differently than the maps we saw. West Orange Church Road is along the bottom of the screen down here. This sketch plan was submitted by Joyner Keeney on behalf of the rezoning applicant. This illustrates the proposed development of 3 new public road rights-of-way, 46 new residential lots, and 2 special purpose lots that are intended for use as common area and open space. 15 of the new lots that you see along the roadway down here at the bottom of the map are proposed to be accessed directly from West Orange Church Road, while the other 31 lots are proposed to be accessed from the new interior roads. The sketch plan does propose a stub road connection to the adjacent property to the west, which is toward the top of your screen there, for future interconnectivity in the event that that property is residentially developed in the future. Each of these lots must either meet or exceed the 30,000 square foot minimum lot area and 100-foot minimum lot width requirements of the proposed RA30CZ zoning district. Nash County Public Utility Service is not currently available along this stretch of West Orange Church Road, so the subdivision is proposed to be served by a private water system. That would be a community well to be located on this common area special purpose lot here, and then each lot would have individual private on-site septic systems. That community water system that I mentioned would be permitted and regulated by the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. It would be owned by the Property Owners Association, and the Property Owners Association would be required by law to maintain a valid contract with a qualified private company to operate, inspect, and maintain that system. As with all rezonings, we are obligated to consult our comprehensive land use plan. This request is consistent with the recommendations of the plan, as you can see from the excerpt on the screen from our future land use map. The property is primarily designated as this green color for residential agricultural area, with the exception of the northernmost portion up here, which is blue. That's the water protection natural resource area, and that is established adjacent to a stream feature that runs along the northern boundary, and that is connected to the Toys Knot Swamp. So the great majority is in this residential agricultural area. Secondly, the plan recommends a minimum allowable residential lot size of 30,000 square feet in this green residential agricultural area, which of course is consistent with the applicant's request for an RA30 zoning district. The plan also recommends that when allowing for greater residential density, as this request does, that we prohibit the development of manufactured homes, which again, the proposed RA30CZ zoning district will do. And then I would also note that the two northernmost lots, which include the area that is colored blue as the water protection natural resource area, lots 32 and 46, both exceed an acre in total area as recommended by the plan for lots located near these environmentally sensitive features. If we return to the zoning map here, this request may be considered reasonable and in the public interest because, number one, the request would not be unreasonable spot zoning because the subject property already is and will continue to be zoned for residential use, similar to the adjacent and surrounding properties. Number two, approval of the request would permit smaller minimum lot areas and increased density, but the new zoning district, as we've discussed, is also more restrictive in terms of permitted land uses than the current zoning district because of its prohibition against manufactured homes. The Nash County Technical Review Committee considered this request on October 2nd. At that meeting, the NCDOT District Engineer's Office advised that the 15 new lots proposed directly along West Orange Church Road, that would be the row of lots at the bottom of the screen, that because they have direct driveway access to West Orange Church Road, they would in fact not be eligible for the issuance of individual driveway permits from the DOT Division Office. And they cited their guidelines for driveway permits, which state, quote, NCDOT shall require all new lots to be internally served and will only approve road front lot driveways in unique situations that will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Hearing that, the TRC recommended approval of the rezoning request, but subject to a requirement that the applicant redesign the proposed sketch plan to eliminate the lots with direct driveway access along West Orange Church Road and to provide access to all the new lots from the interior roads instead. So the TRC recommended approval, but that recommendation was contingent upon a redesign to access these lots internally instead of with individual driveways along West Orange Church Road. The applicant chose not to redesign the sketch plan as recommended by the TRC, and so it remains, as you see before you today, with these 15 lots. Now, the two lots that are on either side of the new access road will obviously be accessed there, but the other 15 lots are proposed to have direct access to West Orange Church Road. After further consideration and discussion with the applicant, the DOT District Engineer's Office advised the county on October 22nd that if this rezoning request were to be approved by the Board of Commissioners with this current subdivision design, then these 15 lots directly along West Orange Church Road would be allowed by the DOT to utilize shared driveways, but they would not be eligible for individual driveways. The planning board heard this request on October 20th at their regular meeting. Mr. Steve Pitts, 4962 West Orange Church Road, a farmer and owner of the property located directly across the road from the rezoning site, addressed the board and noted, number one, his concern regarding the potential impact that these new driveways proposed directly along West Orange Church Road would have on the safe movement of farm equipment. Number two, he noted his need to maintain access across the subject property for farm equipment, which currently includes an existing path to the fields on the adjacent tract of land to the west. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a stub road that will provide access to that adjacent property to the west. And he also requested for the county to require the installation of a berm on the subject property along West Orange Church Road to visually screen the subdivision development from the road, which of course that request would be complicated by having driveways shared or individual immediately along the West Orange Church Road right of way. Mr. Cecil Williams Jr. with the C.T. Williams Corporation addressed the board at that time in support of the rezoning request and on behalf of the application. The planning board voted unanimously to recommend approval of the rezoning request, subject to the development conditions listed below. You have included in your packet a suggested motion for approval of the request and a suggested motion for denial. Both include statements of plan consistency and reasonableness. I want to review, under the motion to approve, you have 7 recommended development conditions. In the event that this is approved, the TRC and the planning board recommend the attachment and inclusion of these development conditions. Number 1, of course, would be that the developer would be held to the sketch plan that would be approved here this morning. Number 2, the property may be developed for the land uses that are permitted in the RA 30 zoning district. Number 3, the developer will have to establish a property owners association to own and maintain the special purpose lots and the private community water system. Number 4, that private community water supply distribution system must be installed to meet the applicable construction standards required not only by NCDEQ, but also our Nash County Public Utilities Department in order to allow for potential connection of the subdivision to our water system once it does expand down West Orange Church Road in the future. Condition number 5 lists some other state and local approvals that will be required prior to construction. Condition number 6 notes, of course, that if the design of the subdivision strays from the sketch plan we have this morning, the application would be subject to re-review and reapproval by the board. And number 7, the applicant would need to consent in writing to all the attached development conditions before the zoning map amendment becomes valid. Under the motion to deny the zoning map amendment, you have in your statement of plan consistency and reasonableness. It references the potential reason for denial being the fact that the roadfront lots along West Orange Church Road would utilize shared driveways that would be directly along the state road right-of-way. And of course, in the event that the board decides to deny, you can amend or revise that to your liking. I have asked our NCDOT district engineer, Kim Moore, to join us this morning in case the board has any questions about the driveway policies relative to this request. And of course, the applicant will be speaking to you during the upcoming public hearing. And with that, I will pause and take any questions that the board has on the staff report.
Any questions for staff? Commissioner Davis?
Mr. Tyson, do you happen to have with you what the distance is to the closest Nash County water line?
I don't know that. I know there is water not too terribly far to the south because it runs along Strickland Road, but I don't think it makes it to West Orange Church Road. If I could go back to the aerial photo, let's see. So Strickland Road is down here. This is the Williams Run subdivision. It is connected to county public water, but I don't believe the public water extends all the way down Strickland Road to this portion of West Orange Church Road. So I know it at least serves that subdivision down there, but I believe it comes from the west and does not continue past it to the east.
To add to Adam's response, we are looking at closing that loop. So the existing water main on West Orange Church Road terminates just south of Strickland Road. So we're looking to close the loop between Strickland and West Orange Church. So at that point, it would just be the run from West Orange Church north of Strickland to this project would be what would be needed to provide access to public water for this subdivision.
And if I may, Mr. Chairman, I hope that item is on our list as we go through our ordinances to look seriously at our requirement now and what that distance is and what we may wish to change that in, because it's disturbing that we continue to put in private well systems with what the county's overall future looks like for public water. Just noted. Thank you.
Other questions for staff?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Wilkins?
Mr. Tyson, would you just clarify, the UDO and the land development ordinance, it does not prohibit shared driveways in Nash County, is that right?
It does not prohibit. The county does not issue driveway permits. That's the purview of NCDOT. The only reference to our ordinance, in our ordinance that I'm aware of, to driveways was at one time we offered a waiver of the wider lot widths that are required along busy roads if applicants would utilize shared driveways. But after a few experiments with that, the board actually removed that from the ordinance. So the UDO does not regulate driveways, we regulate lot widths, and NCDOT is the regulatory body for driveways.
Thank you.
Other questions? Commissioner Howell?
Mr. Tyson, can you shine a little more light on the reason why we took that approach from the county on, you said, I know that the state mandates the driveways, but we had a clause in there where it was more favorable to do that, and now we took it out.
Right.
What was the reasoning behind that, sir?
So we have a requirement, we have a requirement that when you are subdividing lots that have direct access to a road that has over 1,000 vehicle trips per day, that you either have to have double the width. So typically, that means your lots have to be 200 feet wide instead of 100 feet wide. And we previously had some language in the ordinance that said you could get away with not having the extra 200-foot width and go back to the standard 100-foot, provided that each two lots shared one driveway. And the logic behind that was that you would have, 1 point of conflict per two lots instead of per each individual lot. And also, it would still keep the driveways 200 feet apart if you had two 100-foot wide lots served by that. However, after a couple developments, I believe our commissioners found that the shared driveways were very short driveways. They didn't provide a lot of parking area, and they still added traffic, along what were, busy roads. And so our preference would be for these lots to be served interior by the subdivision roads. But that, at least as of today, is a preference, not an ordinance requirement. But it is a specific design feature of this subdivision. And so if the board felt strongly about that, that would be a criteria for turning down the request. But it is not prohibited by the board, the ordinance. In fact, we make no effort to regulate driveways because we don't have the regulatory authority like DOT does.
Commissioner Howell, go ahead.
So prior to that change, did the county receive any negative feedback from our citizens in regards to those shared driveways?
I believe we did, yes.
Was it numerous or just one or two?
I think most of it was made to our actual commissioners and not to the planning department, but it was my impression that it was numerous.
Thank you, sir.
Other questions? All right, hearing none. Call for a motion to open the public hearing.
Move to open the public hearing.
Moved by Commissioner Leggett, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Arrington. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. We're now in public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the podium. State your name for the record. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Stephanie Pitts. Did I need to state anything else?
That's good, Ms.
Okay.
Pitts. Thank you very much.
Well, thank y'all so much for the opportunity to speak. My family and I live across from the property under consideration for being rezoned. I am unsure of what to advocate for, but ultimately, we would like for as much of the agricultural and pastoral landscape to be maintained as possible. The agricultural landscape, and furthermore, the products that that landscape produces, are a big part of what makes Nash County a great place to live. There are three things we believe would help maintain the agricultural landscape, and my third point is actually in line with some of the discussion that you guys are just having. We would like for this property to have as low a housing density as possible. That's point number one. Point number two is we would love a berm to separate the development from the surrounding roads and properties. And that would be really nice if the berm would indicate or would include plants and shrubs that are easy to maintain. We feel like this berm would be aesthetically pleasing as well as help to keep kids that might live in the development safe from traffic. The third point is that we would like to advocate for interior-facing driveways. This is really important to reduce traffic on West Orange Church Road You can imagine things like Amazon trucks, school buses, mail carriers, and similar delivery vehicles stopping along the road. And interior driveways really help reduce the number of vehicles that stop on the road that cause traffic delays and obstructions. Though it may seem that West Orange Church Road is not heavily trafficked now, these obstructions will be more of a hazard both now and in the future. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak? Please state your name for the record, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm Steve Pitts. I live with her,
Yes,
right across
sir.
the road.
I guess that would be the case.
As long as she lets me. So, right.
Understood.
My question is, like, economically speaking, as the county, if a subdivision cannot be built in a way that is compatible with the current residents around the area, my question is, how economically feasible is it? Like, it's a long-term thing, they're not going anywhere. Why would we approve something or allow something to be built that the current residents don't appreciate without some sort of, berm or, something to maintain? I'm not saying you can't build the thing. I'm just saying it seems like there is a cost, economic cost on the surrounding area that has to be borne from now on. So that's my main question. And the whole economic, like, we all get higher tax bills. Y'all live here. We all get them every year. So if the development is not paying for itself and we're having higher tax bills to pay for it, then why are we approving it? So that's my question. I mean, we got to build schools. We got to build, the EMS response and all that sort of thing. But it's all the byproduct of more people. And that cost has, economic consequences on us as well as aesthetic consequences on us. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak? Please state your name for the record, ma'am.
Yes, sir. My name is Jane Flowers Finch. I'm
ma'am.
from
Good morning.
Raleigh, but I'm originally from Bailey, and I have a home in Bailey and land and property in Nash County. And my brother Ray Finch had a farm off of Stony Hill Church Road, so I have followed the development of Mr. Williams has done along Stony Hill Church Road. He and I were in high school together, and he's a really fine businessman, but I don't agree with him on some things. And so I wanted to address, I'm concerned about this development. We're facing development in Nash County, and, some of us grew out here in the country. When I was 6 years old, I could ride my bicycle down 581 for 2 miles to Bailey all by myself, and you can't do that now. But it's changing, and that's where we are. And so the important thing for us to do is to do it right, to make sure it's done right as best we can with the growth. And this density on 43 acres is not a good idea. And I would encourage you not to enlarge the lots to 30,000 square feet, to leave them at 40,000. And I think it's critical for all the houses to be interior facing and not to add all these driveways on Stony Hill Church Road where they put all the shared driveways and put all those roads. It is a problem, and if you recall, that was done, I came to the hearings on that, and DOT said that Stony Hill Church Road was a highly traveled rural paved road with over 1,000 trips a day before any development was out there. And so, I don't know what they've said about West Horn Church Road, but I think we need to be very cognizant of putting all these driveways in there. And also, the lots need to be of sufficient size. And this, I want to talk about the water. I know something about the water, and I'm very concerned that there's not county water for this development. And if he's going to do a community well, my mother had rental property, and I managed it. And during COVID, we had a well to go dry that served 5 houses. It cost $20,000 to drill a 650-foot well. And even now, it's nerve-wracking. And I also know someone that lives on Lyles Road, which is not too far from here. They had a water problem because their farmer neighbor was irrigating from a well. I think y'all need to Google. I Googled it again last night because I learned it back when we had lost the well in COVID, which was thought to be, this property was on 264 east of Bailey. The rock quarry, when it digs holes down there, this is what the well digger from Tarboro told me, that the aquifers drain into the hole at the rock quarry. So I've talked to other people on that side of Bailey that have had some water issues. And the same thing happens when farmers irrigate. If they're even if they're taking it from a pond, it could pull water from the aquifers that are under there. So, you need to be prepared if he goes in there with his own water system, that the county's going to need to put water in a few years later when he's out of the picture and the county's paying for it. This water issue really does need to be given some very serious concern. And not only that, if you're going to 30 people, if it's 30 square foot, is everybody going to go dig a well on their 30 square foot property? You can't do that. And so I encourage you to not allow the larger density. And I argued to y'all before, what this is about is money. And it's okay for people to make money, but Mr. Williams wants to get as many houses on this 43 acres as he can because he can make the most money he can. He can still put fewer houses on there and still make good money. So we need to do that. And also these rural areas before too, when you put that subdivision right out there, those people start trespassing on all the property around it. I've had real trouble with that with my mother. My sister-in-law's had major problem with that. My sister-in-law and niece.
You have 1 minute.
Okay, but I just think we need to, they think that they've come into the country and they can go ride their four-wheelers and to go trekking across other people's property, and it is a serious problem. I have worked with Sheriff Stone and his staff have really made some progress in that regard, but it's still a problem, and so people need to have big enough lots. But thank y'all for letting me be here today.
Thank you,
And
Ms.
thank
Bennett.
you.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Good morning. Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, I'm Amy Pearson, 6127 Strickland Road. I appreciate everything that you do for us each and every day. I know that you don't have an easy job, and it seems that we come when we have complaints, but I want to say thank you first before I give you my list of complaints. So thank you for letting me be here, and thank you also for those of you who have served in our military as Veterans Day is here. I just thank you for that as well. So I will probably sound like a broken record after Ms. Pitts and after Ms. Finch's story. And I come this morning first to say how disappointed I am in the planning board, because it blows my mind that they could send an approval when it clearly states that the North Carolina DOT said, I'm not giving you a permit. Then how, if I understand it correctly, and I have done a lot of research over the last week, I've learned more than I wanted to know. I've talked to our planning department, and they have been great. But as I understand it, the conditional rezoning, and I think I heard Mr. Tyson say it again this morning, that the plat that you approve, that's the plat. I don't quite understand that. If the planning board knew that they were sending a plat to you, that if you approved, that's how it was going to be, but the DOT said that they're not going to give you permits, I'm really, really confused on what in the world they were thinking. And so I come not this morning hoping that after what I heard Mr. Tyson say this morning, that there's not even a reason for me to be standing here. But it does disappoint me that I had to take off work today. I've heard people already speak. I've looked in the audience, and I don't know if they're going to speak, but there's other people that live on that road or very near that road. I've lived on Strickland Road for 52 years. I know that progress is coming. Wake County is coming after us as fast as they can, and Southern Nash County is where they're going to hit first, and they've already hit. But when I take and I ride down the road on Strickland Road and I look at what Mr. Williams has already developed, it is a low-cost neighborhood that I know what we're leaving my children and my grandchildren with later, because when those houses are not worth the value that they are today, instead of going up, they go down, we're going to have sad neighborhoods. And what she just said about the four-wheelers does happen. My brother has land that there is a development right at him. They take pictures and put it on the internet all the time. Who is this on my land? You know, because they just do whatever they want to do. And she's right. They come to the country and think, you know, it's just open land. You know, I can do whatever I want to. I don't understand how the planning board also could think it would be a good idea for farm equipment. You said safety. These are low-income houses. It's going to be children. So it's okay, Mr. Williams thinks it's okay for 17 houses of children to be out there playing, doing whatever they're going to do, and there's going to be farm equipment coming by at least twice a day. They got to go out and got to come back in. So I don't understand from that point what in the world we're doing here. I don't understand from the planning board's position why we're here. I shouldn't have to leave work today to come talk to you about common sense stuff. And so I just want to say again, the water. I do 2 wells. I have my Seawell license, and I am the operator for 2 wells. And I was thinking about that thing. Okay, so we're going to have an HOA in a low-income neighborhood, an HOA that's got to pay for their water. The average of each household will be about the same thing as it costs to have county water, because I have rental property with county water that I pay, and I know what it costs to run a well. And so it's going to cost the same thing. But how much is that developer going to put up in money that if all the sites don't, because I averaged it with all of the sites. So if all the sites are not developed and not paying, who's going to pay to operate that well? If some of the people move out, because I have another development on 581 that's just 5 or 6 houses, they've been sold 3 times and they've been there about 4 years. And so there's somebody moving in and out and a for sale sign all the time. So when people move out, who's going to pay for that? If HOA, how are they going to pay to take care of their water system? There are a lot of issues that I could continue, and many have been spoken today, but I think Mr. Tyson gave you everything that you needed to make the decision to disapprove this today. And I appreciate you, and thank you so much.
Ms. Pearson, I would note for the record that regardless of the planning board's decision, it would still have to come before this board. So therefore, we're here today. But I appreciate your comment.
Understood, and thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Good morning. Please state your name for the record, ma'am. That's fine. We got time.
My name is Paula Lamb, and my husband and I, Joey Lamb, own property on West Orange Church Road here in Bailey. My concerns pertaining to the request of the new subdivision on West Orange Church Road are as follows. According to the USGS, the overdeveloped land turns from what was once farmland from a natural sponge into a solid plate. The developing of this farmland into housing development has a potential causing flooding in a low-lying road area adjoining the west side of this development. The creek that exists in the low-lying land has flooded in the past. With runoff from this proposed development, the road will be more likely to flood, creating potential dangerous road conditions. This can also increase flooding on the already existing homes and farmlands for the surrounding areas. Number 2, the rain runoff from this development will run off immediately instead of infiltrating the ground. This will increase the risk of polluting our groundwater sources to the pre-existing 19-plus homes on the west end of West Orange Church Road, which there have their own private wells, as I do. Another concern I have is with the farmers being able to obtain the their entry to their fields on West Orange Church Road. Currently, we are dealing with this same situation accessing farmland on Strickland Road. Having a 20-foot deeded access with large farm equipment is physically impossible to access these fields without driving on the proposed property of the 2 lots Mr. Williams has already had surveyed for houses on either side of that access. Number 4, my concerns, concerning the various driveways entering directly onto West Orange Church Road, I would like to remind the commission that it has already been voted on not to allow 2 houses to 1 driveway. If you've been on Stony Hill Road, you know what an eyesore that is, and that anybody that lives in that area, I'm sure, would agree with me. Currently, the increase in traffic on both West Orange Church Road and Strickland Road has increased dramatically. I can hear cars racing down Strickland Road from my home on West Orange Church Road. There's 2 sharp curves on West Orange Church Road just down from where the proposed development is supposed to be built. And at times, I can barely get out of my driveway without a vehicle on my tail pushing me. I have already had 2 young people die in my front yard from reckless and speeding. Now with the additional 46 houses with an average of 2 to 3 vehicles per resident, that would put approximately an additional 92 to 138 vehicles traveling on West Orange Church Road. Not only people that live on West Orange Church Road, but people that are coming from Spring Hope, going to Wilson, either use Strickland Road or West Orange Church Road as their cut through. I would love to know the recommendation from the DOT before this development is voted on.
Ma'am, you have 1 minute.
Okay. I appreciate, I'm fixing to end right now.
Thank you.
I appreciate the commissioners listening to our concerns about the numerous developments in our area. I would also like to suggest that you go to the Bailey NC Community Information Facebook page and join, and then you can read the concerns of the people who are not able to attend this meeting due to having to work. You also might learn just how the constituents feel about what's happening in the Bailey area and that they're not falling on deaf ears. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Anyone else? Good morning, Ms. Moore. For the record, please state your name.
Okay, I don't live in the area, but my name is Kim Moore, and I work with NCDOT, and I'm the district engineer that covers this location. Our office covers Nash and Wilson County. Just want to give a little bit of I guess you could say, an overview of our driveway guidance that we have to kind of put things in perspective for you. The Department of Transportation did adopt these guidelines for driveway permits back in October of 2020, and that's been 5 years. As you know, our county has significantly changed in the past 5 years. You know that better than anybody. The growth rate and development, especially in the southern part of our county, has been exponential. It's part of the reason why Nash County redid the land use development plan in 2022, and it's part of the reason why you're currently reviewing the Unified Development Ordinance for the county to catch up with times. With the guidelines that the department has in place, we always review each location individually. It's not just a one shoe fits everything. We look at each of these locations and we try to see if we have any flexibility that can be offered to the site. Anything that we can do to encourage development in a safe way, help the development, but also maintain all of our guidelines. This flexibility over the past couple of years is becoming less and less and less. Nash County is just growing at that fast of a rate. To give an example of what I'm talking about, our office recently put out traffic counters on a couple of roads in southern Nash County to get updated traffic counts. On the roads that these were put out on, since 2023, one of the roads showed an increase of 13% in the growth of traffic since 2023, and the other roads showed an increase of 24% in the growth in traffic since 2023. Now, to put that in perspective, if we don't have updated traffic counts whenever we're doing our computations and our reviews in our office, we use a standard traffic growth rate of 3%. So you can see that some of these roads were, you're looking at 8 times the standard growth rate for the amount of traffic, within a quarter of a mile of the subdivision that we're reviewing today. So, our concern is safety. Every time you have a driveway entrance, you have a conflict point. And the more conflict points you have, it just kind of spells it out. We're not here today, to try to stop or impede any type of development in the area or to hurt, developers or development. But, it is our number one goal that when we're reviewing these plans, that we're trying to ensure that safety is the number one factor. That's what we're tasked with. And I can answer any questions for you if you have about the driveway permits.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Moore? Commissioner Davis?
Would you like to ask them now or after the public hearing now?
Yes, sir. Would you be okay with that?
Ms. Moore, could you explain why the DOT feels like a shared driveway provides more safety on these SR roads than 2 single driveways, knowing it's the same amount of vehicles entering the road, maybe 100 foot apart? I just have issues understanding that concept that y'all somewhat utilize.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're correct. You are looking at this, basically the same number. You've got the same number of people leaving the houses as you would if you had individual drives. It's all about a number of conflict points. I'll just try to put it in a very visual way. If you have 2 homes side by side and both people are leaving at the same time, one's taking a left and one's taking a right, that's 2 conflicts that could be leaving at the same time. So you have the potential for a crash. If you have one driveway, one is having to wait on the other, so only one is exiting or entering at the same time. And then as Adam Tyson was talking about, it has to do with the spacing. Cars that are traveling, I think this road may be 55 miles an hour, if I'm not mistaken. 55 miles an hour, your sight distance is a certain amount when you're looking to the left and right at that speed. And so when you're leaving and you're looking to the left and right, the fewer number of driveway conflict points you have, the less likely you are to have accidents and crashes upon people leaving there. If that helps answer it at all. It's more just about the number of conflict points than it is the actual number of people utilizing the entrances, so.
I buy into what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I've also noticed in the way we're getting shared driveways and the length of them, it is generating a lot more backing into the road than getting turned around and entering into the road, which to me somewhat offsets what you may be gaining and what you just described. Do y'all take that into account any?
Not specifically, because it depends on how the lot is laid out. If you have a lot that the homes are offset further back, obviously you've got more of a driveway stem, and you can have area where vehicles can turn around internally inside. But yeah, we don't take that into consideration. So.
But that's not what we've been seeing in Nash County we're getting, but thank you for your honesty.
We have a lot of, there are a few municipalities that we deal with. I think we cover 22 municipalities within the 2 counties. And we have some municipalities that actually have it in their subdivision ordinances that they do not allow shared driveways. And then we have some that absolutely love it. So it is a mixed bag whenever it comes to people who like and dislike the shared driveways. So.
Understood. Thank you, Mr.
Does
Chairman.
anyone else have a question? Commissioner Howell?
Yes, sir.
Just got a question kind of related to all this, and you've touched on a little bit of it. I'm sure y'all are overwhelmed with work because of all this growth.
Yeah.
So when these subdivisions come in, and I'm not saying this one because this one's not been approved yet, but I've seen it in numerous other ones in Nash County. So we increase the density in these areas, but you just mentioned the highway speed on this road is 55 miles an hour. But then all these homes are being added in, we're increasing the density, but there's not being a reduction in speed. What's the process? I'm getting a lot of requests from citizens in my district specifically.
Yes.
Where we're putting in these subdivisions throughout the southern end of the county, but yet the speed limit was still based on the lower density for that area. And now, so What's the process? How is that reviewed and how does that work?
We have a traffic control unit. It's actually in our division that's located in Wilson, and they do try to keep up with the number of developments that are being built, and they occasionally, I guess you could say, review these locations to see if the speed limit does need to be changed. But if somebody, a citizen or a commissioner, has a concern in a location, you can contact our office, and I can go ahead and forward that to our traffic department. And I won't speak for them because I don't know what all the criteria that they look at, but they do review the locations to see if a reducing speed limit is warranted.
So reach out to NCDOT?
Correct, yes. Yeah, you can reach out directly to our office, so.
Thank you.
And we can look at that.
Are there any other questions for Ms. Moore? Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Thank you.
Does the developer have any comments?
Cecil Williams, 6765 Jordan Road, Elm
Morning.
City, in the Nash County side. This is, go on. I'll start off by saying that we, as a developer, have moved away from trying to secure 20,000 square foot lots, and have gone to the 30,000 square foot lots. And Ms. Finch, as I don't know her last, Ms. Finch invoked my name, so I'll invoke hers. We both went to Southern Nash Senior High School, and those teachers had me convinced, literally convinced, that 30,000 is greater than 20,000. And I find that we're wrong. That evidently 30 is less than 20, because we're trying to conserve farmland, and some people are thinking that 30 and 40 is a better go than 20. So anyway, that being said, moving on, we worked with the planning board after we decided we're going to go to 30,000. We worked with planning staff. Mr. Sam Johnson back here, our director of operations, and myself, we said we're going to go 30. We want to make sure we dot all the i's, cross all the t's, and do it the proper way. And we did, and we went to the TRC meeting, and at the TRC meeting, we thought everybody was going to be happy, and all of a sudden, the DOT pulled out the regulations, and I realized they're 5 years old. I had seen, I don't know how to turn this down. I don't know how to do it. But anyway, I had seen this sheet. I had seen this sheet. And this sheet is one that we go by that tells us down at the bottom, the 1,000 cars a day in the primary and secondary roads, about allowable driveways. But I had never, it's my fault, I had never seen this. That says that they suggest, and we use a lot of this, they're saying the driveways, it's not a written, hard, steadfast rule that everything has to be interior. They are reviewing it on a issue by issue basis. Anyway, to hurry along here, we met all the criteria in the UDO. We have met all the criteria for the land use plan. And I am asking that y'all approve the subdivision and let us work it out with DOT on the shared driveways. And I'd done the first shared driveways that was done in Southern Nash County, and we did them at the request of DOT. And I have checked, and I don't know of any accidents that's happened. I've not heard of any. We've got a homeowner association. No one has complained to the homeowner association about driveway neighbors interfering with their getting in and out and whatever. I think it's just things that some people are they're not used to it, and that's why they're against it. Just like I don't like some of the other things in the world, but I was just hoping that y'all go with the UDO and let the NCDOT do their job with safety concerns and whatever it is with the shared driveways. And so, anybody got any questions?
Would it be appropriate for questions at this point? Anyone have any questions for the developer? Thank
And
you.
I would like to say that on the water, I would like to engage the county water department and see it their way we can work out to where water can be put on that part of Horns Church Road. Oh, and I do have to show this. This is what I want to do, the whole thing here. This is some subdivisions that have been approved and give or take the last year. We have this is, and this is all in the Bailey area. This was on 6/20/28/24. This is on 9/7. This is one we done, 9/7/28. That's all. (11/24). These all been done and approved and folks got driveways. And then the good Lord put me running down the road and right over on Old Cary Road, this is what we got. That's just been built, shared driveway. And I was told by the parties and people at the board and the county planning staff that Nash County didn't allow shared driveways. And this is, there's several of them. I don't know who the developer is, it doesn't matter who it is. All I want y'all to do is treat me like you treat everybody else. If this guy's get shared driveways and make his stuff work in a unique situation, I want to make mine work in a unique situation. We have spent a lot of money to get this plan, sketch plan, to the point that it is. And we think we got all the blessings of the planning staff before we go to TRC, then we get to TRC, and it comes up that boom, do not want to do shared driveways anymore. And I would suggest the board and DOT, if you want to put this in, and you want it to be something permanent, call us in or send us a letter and send the engineers a letter telling them that date certain, we're going to not have any more shared driveways, we're not having any more exterior driveways on a date certain going forward. Don't just bouncing around and then then I show up and bam, here it is. Nope, it's no more shared driveways. So I won't be treated like this guy, whoever it is. And anybody got any more questions?
No, sir, I think.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Wilson?
the shared driveway you just had up, is that the width of the driveways you are anticipating putting in?
Yes, ma'am.
So
At
they're
least.
not, it's not like it's a single driveway at a house that they're sharing. That
That's
line
correct. It's
down the
extra
middle,
wide.
it's basically two
Yes.
driveways in each one of them.
Correct. Or just
Just
happen to
together.
be adjoined. It's two driveways, 20 foot, that they are adjoined. It's not asking people, everybody to come out of one single 10 foot, whatever, 10-foot driveway. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Aaron?
That same picture you showed, it allows for that homeowner to back out of his garage and then turn around and come, well, I call drive or face forward to the road. One of the things about if your shared driveway are too narrow and the homeowner can't turn around and come out facing the road versus backing out.
Right.
That the size that you propose to have so that they can turn around and drive out versus backing out.
If you want to, if the county wants to side load.
Yeah, you see on the side, on that particular one, on the side of the house, look like there's a pavement to back, or either that's a walkway, one or the other. But it looked like it might be room enough to turn the vehicle around.
Yes, sir. They are in the shared driveways on the other kind, just like you're talking about. Right here. I'm working to see this or not. But I'm gonna try. Put it up. That has the same effect as what you're talking They don't have to, there's plenty of room to turn around there and get
Okay.
out.
Right.
And that's the kind that we prefer, is what I was just showing there. But we can do the side load, if some of them probably will be side load. Okay, thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I really don't want to put Ms. Moore on the spot, but do you wish to address the old carriage, shared driveways, and the discussion that we've had about that situation there, why that was approved? Would that be acceptable to the board?
I would rather not.
I think it would be beneficial for the board to hear.
Are you in reference to like what was just shown there? Is that what you're talking
On
about?
Old Carriage Road.
Yeah. And I hope I don't speak incorrectly. Those particular driveways that were being shown, those were individual homes. We can only review what we're given. We were given an entire subdivision to review, in this particular case on West Hornchurch Road. So we know the plan on that. In cases like what we're seeing on Old Carriage Road, we're given 2 parcels. Two lots, and that's all it is. There's not a subdivision proposed back behind it. So there's really not a whole lot of change. Our options were 1 driveway or 2 driveway. And so at that point, we're just discussing the spacing of it. And due to the amount of traffic that was out on Old Carriage Road and the spacing of the driveways, that's when the whole shared driveway situation. So I don't know that, other than showing the example of what the shared driveways look like, I don't know if that location is a comparable example to show for what we're talking about today, if that makes sense, because you're looking at an entire subdivision with 15 roadfront lots and an internal road versus 2 lots that we were reviewing at that time. Does that answer the question, or is that what you're looking?
Any questions for Ms. Moore?
Yeah. And that's what I was saying, while we try to review everything on a case-by-case basis. We review everything from single driveways to subdivisions with 500 homes. So, there's not a one-size-fit-all whenever it comes to that, so.
Thank you, Ms. Moore.
I was going to ask her.
Commissioner Aaron?
Well, the pictures that were shown.
Yes, sir.
How it's so almost what I call a semi-roundabout, how they can come out and back out and then come forward to
Yes,
the
sir.
road versus backing out. Is that a approved type shared driveway that y'all?
It is. We really only look at the actual entrance itself. We don't have any, I guess you could say, authority to dictate what the developer builds internally. We're really just dictating the actual location of the driveway and the width of the driveway. As far as the 2 examples that Mr. Williams just gave, we don't have the authority to dictate which one he builds.
Okay, so if they meet the width, then
Yeah, that's something that we would look at, yes. If Mr. Williams, a standard driveway is, say, 20 to 24 feet wide. If what Mr. Williams needs to build the driveways out there to get what the board is looking for is, say, 30 feet wide, that's something he could approach us with, and we could review it, and more than likely, we would have no problem, approving that. So, yeah. Yeah, but we don't, as far as the actual construction of the drive and how it's done internally, we don't have any regulatory authority over that.
so mainly it's the width of the drive that DOT is most concerned about.
Correct, yes, and the location, yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Howell?
Just to help me get a better understanding, so from the state's perspective of DOT, you dictate how wide the drive is, and I know most driveways are standard 20-foot wide.
Yes.
So when we do a shared driveway, do you stipulate wider than that, or is it still 20 foot?
We'd want to take a look at the area, we're not looking for a 50-foot wide driveway, because that's more of a construction entrance or anything, but yeah, we can work with the developers on the width of those driveways.
Are there restrictions how wide it can be in a residential setting?
Not really. Again, your standard driveway width is, say 20 to 24 feet. We try not to go above 30. Anything above that, we kind of consider commercial. Now, I'm not, shutting out that option. It would be another situation where we need to look at it on a case-by-case basis, because what you don't want, the wider you get, then you get back into, you can have somebody pulling in and out at the same time, and you're back at basically 2 entrances just within one. The whole point is to bring it closer together to where you can only have 1 vehicle entering and exiting at the same time to get back to that, reduction in conflict points. So,
To Commissioner Ayrton's point, we determined the width of it. We have no recommendation at the road, but once it goes back in, the width of the driveway can go back to whatever the developer decides. Is that correct?
whatever the developer decides or recommends with our approval, yes. Yeah, because that's one of the things that we look at when we issue driveway permits, is the width of the driveway and anything else that's associated with it.
And do you set parameters in there as far as the turnarounds required or space for the car to be able to turn in so it prevents it from Commissioner Davis's point about backing out into the road?
Yeah, we don't set any parameters like that. That's up to the internal development to handle all that, and so that's not something that we cover.
Thank
So, yeah.
Any other discussion before I call for a motion to close the public hearing?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Wilkins.
out of respect for the developer, you called Kim back up here to rebut what he said. I would like to know if he has anything to add since she has said what she said.
I have no issue with that, Commissioner Wilkins, if Mr. Williams has any comments.
Okay.
The only thing I would say about this is, this is the picture, this is the one that is in Nash County that we're talking about. It is side load, but this is a subdivision plat. This is not, what Sam was just telling me, that this was multiple shared driveways that were presented. I think that, I don't know how many there are, there's more than 2 that were presented. This is a piece of, right down through there, and that's probably 20, 25 feet. Is what the shared driveway width is the 25 feet. And we certainly hope and pray that y'all see fit to approve our subdivision so we can get these lots sold to some builders that are waiting on lots.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Howell.
question for Mr. Williams. These proposed driveways, shared driveways that we're looking at in this proposed subdivision, I know you've built some subdivisions on Stony Hill Church Road that have shared driveways.
Yes, sir.
Are these driveways you're proposing for this subdivision applicable to those that are over there? Are they going to be different?
We haven't really got that far into the actual design of the driveway itself. And with 30, I don't know what the setbacks are on, is setbacks on 30 different than 20,000?
Yeah, 40-foot front setback.
And then what's the side on the 30? The 30 is 40,
15.
and the other's 15. That's gonna be quite a bit of difference in getting them to come in. That's gonna help with your decision. Instead of where this is, I have no idea, probably 30 foot between these 2 houses. It's gonna be 40 foot between houses. It's 20-foot setback on 30,000. 15, so that's probably, okay, so I'm confused. 20,000 is, 12 foot, okay, that's 12, so that'd be 24 foot between houses, and this would be 15, that's gonna be 30 foot between houses on the 30 that we're proposing, so yes, they'll be much wider than what this is.
And how long are these driveways?
What's the front setback? And on the 30?
No, on the 30 is 40, on the 20 is 35.
It's longer as well. Yes, sir. Thanks for that question, that's good. They're wider, and the new shared driveways will be wider and longer. Any other questions?
Commissioner Davis.
Yes, sir.
Would you lay that picture back down one more time, Mr. Williams? Is there any kind of easement that allows those neighbors to utilize all of that driveway?
I'm sure it can be.
I mean, normally, is it?
No.
What I'm looking at is even with that configuration you got there that you were showing there, I realize this is not yours, but an SUV can't leave either one of those houses and get out that driveway without going over on the adjoining property's land. So is there a cross easement there that allows that?
Is that required? Here we got a survey engineer.
Hold it. If you wish to address the question, then, okay, well, you need to come to the podium if you wish to address the question that Commissioner Davis has asked.
My name's Blair Alford, I'm with Joyner Keeney. These houses, they're, if you can see the truck sitting there, I think the way it looks, the concrete goes all the way to almost to the back of the house. And then in the middle of the driveway, back there, as you said, a dirt spot, they put a white privacy fence between the two basically splitting the two houses up. So you can sit in your garage and not look into the other garage. But an SUV, that truck, you can pull in and then back out of that driveway without hitting your fence, just in the middle of it.
Any other questions before we close the public hearing?
I know.
That's good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, hearing no other questions, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
We close.
Moved by Commissioner Leggett, second by Commissioner Belfield. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. We're out of public hearing. Is there any further discussion from the board?
Yeah,
Commissioner Belfield.
I have two concerns that, and it appears that most of the zoning is coming up. Some people are opposing it because of the buffer. But agriculture needs to irrigate and spray for insects and diseases. And there's drift, and quite a bit if the wind is blowing above 5 miles an hour. And you're gonna find neighbors, people living in these developments complaining about the chemical spraying. And we have had this in 2 areas here in Nash County years ago. It finally got solved by the highway ran through there, and the people were living in that area had to move out. And the state bought all that land. We need to think in terms of the development here in Nash County, and especially in the southern end where it's more rural and farming, that adequate water supply is there. And you take care of the storm water, and also agriculture spraying. And they need to spray to prevent insects and diseases destroying their crops, and especially fruit and vegetables. And we need to take that into consideration before it even comes to the board of commissioners. And that's my.
Thank you, Commissioner Belfield. Commissioner Davis?
Mr. Tyson, the pictures that we saw there, could you tell us the circumstances of that area, if you recognized it, and if indeed it went to the planning board or the commissioner?
I believe it went to the planning board, but did not involve a rezoning, so it did not have to come to the commissioners. The county had no indication when that was proposed that there would be shared driveways. That was something that was either decided by the developer after the approval process, or perhaps required by DOT. To your point earlier, when we know we're dealing with a shared driveway development, we always ask the developer to provide that shared driveway access easement along the shared point of access, so that there is a legal agreement to allow the vehicles to cross that property line when coming and going. But the county did not have any indication from the developer that those, I believe it's 6 lots along Old Carriage, that they were going to have shared driveways until after they were developed that way.
Okay. And you answered my second question. We always require that access easement.
When we're aware that there's going to be a shared driveway.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions for staff? All right, hearing none, I call for a motion to adopt the statement of plan consistency and either approve or deny the zoning map amendment.
Mr. Chairman,
Call on Commissioner Leggett.
some time ago, this board let it be known that we do not support shared driveways for new construction. As this request has been presented, it includes several shared driveways on lots facing out, directly out onto the main road. The Nash County TRC recommended the elimination of all planned lots with direct access onto West Orange Church Road, and that all new lots be accessed from an interior road. Considering these items, it is not in the best interest of the public to approve this request, and I move that the Nash County Board of Commissioners adopt the statement plan of consistency and reasonableness listed in our agenda and deny the conditional rezoning request CZ 250903 to rezone the specified property to RA 30 CZ for the development of the West Orange Church Road subdivision.
So the motion is to deny the request. Is there a second? Commissioner Howell made the second. Any further discussion?
Discussion.
Go ahead, Commissioner Wilkins.
Mr. Chairman, that motion, it says the board let it be known about not supporting shared driveways. The board may have let it be known, but the board did not put it in the UDO or the land development plan. And it seems to me the developer has followed it. The TRC did approve it, and as did the planning board. And here again, when we talk about building and developers come before us, it seems like it's a personal preference. People are saying the potential of flooding, if this happens, if that happens, possible water problems. There's no indication that there's going to be any. And so I would not be supporting that motion.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Davis?
Mr. Chairman, I don't mean to be argumentative at all, but in numerous cases since we did the Unified Development Ordinance, we have had reference from the planning department about what the preferences were in that UDO for things that weren't covered in the UDO or are not covered by the UDO, Unified Development Ordinance, that would be covered when we did the rewrite of what we're just beginning the process on now. And we have made decisions in the past, many times, more along the lines of the size lots of what we preferred or what we didn't prefer. So I think we've set a precedent of utilizing the wishes of this board in the past, even though we haven't addressed it in the ordinances themselves yet. And I've used the wrong word a couple of times. It's Land Development Code instead of Unified Development Ordinance. I apologize for that. But we have set the precedents during the Land Development Code rewrite of what we wished, and we have utilized that in making numerous decisions before this morning. I'd just like to make that clear to the board. Mr. Tyson, if you could make it clear, I'd appreciate it. Maybe I made it clear when I restated it.
Right. When this board considers a rezoning, you have the right to look beyond the minimum requirements of the ordinance in order to make a decision about whether this is the right development at the right place at the right time. And so it does, factors that are not minimum ordinance requirements can be taken into consideration when deciding a rezoning, and certainly that has been done in the past.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Howell?
Just to piggyback on Commissioner Davis's comments, there is a UDO that's being rewritten now that's been mentioned here today in discussing this, and I would encourage developers and all citizens with concerns about this to come out. I think we've got a meeting, is it November the 12th?
We do, we have a steering committee meeting on November the 12th at 4:00 p.m.
4 o'clock, and you know where that's going to be located?
Right here.
Right here in this room. So anybody that has concerns or would, want to see what's going on, because the county is growing rapidly, and we're in the process of changing some of these things to keep up, and I do hope that the members of the commissioners that are on that committee will take under consideration and make this part of the UDO going forward to where we don't approve those going forward. Thank you, sir.
Any other discussion? All right, we've got a motion, we got a second. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no.
No.
Motion passes. We're going to do one more item for that Planning Director Tyson's got, and then we're going to take a break so he can send him back to work. He's already working pretty hard here.
Send him back to work.
And this item does
Mr.
not
Tyson,
require a
this
public
subdivision
hearing.
waiver request, it does not require a public hearing.
The subject property for this second request is highlighted on the screen. This is 31.65 acres. This is currently owned by the Barnes Land Corporation. It's located on the south side of Friday Road. It has a Sims zip code. You can see in, well, you can't see, but it's in the R40 single-family residential zoning district, and there's no request to change that existing zoning. It's located between the Custom Quality Packers LLC meat packaging and processing plant just to the west, which you can see here on the map. And then off to the east, we're not very far from the Nash-Wilson County line there. There is an existing migrant labor camp on the subject property in this clearing here. You see a group of buildings there. And the south side of the property down here is immediately adjacent to the Bloomery Swamp. That's this body of water down here to the south. Joyner Keeney has submitted a sketch plan on behalf of a prospective developer for the development of the Friday Cove subdivision, which you see in the sketch plan on the screen. This subdivision proposes 32 new residential lots and a large, approximately 21.4 acre remainder tract. And that remainder tract is kind of like an L shape. It would contain the existing migrant labor camp, as well as parts of the Bloomery Swamp down here. It wraps around the east side of the property. All of these lots would be accessed from this proposed new interior road off of the south side of Friday Road and ending in a cul-de-sac to the south. These lots will each contain 40,000 square feet and have at least 100 feet of width per the requirements of this existing R40 zoning district. And these lots will be served by an extension of the Nash County Public Water System and individual private on-site septic systems. Since this is not a rezoning, what brings it to the board's attention this morning is a request for a subdivision waiver, and that waiver is related to the minimum cul-de-sac length that is allowed from the driveway at Friday Road to the cul-de-sac at the south end. That is typically a 1,200-foot maximum length limitation required by the ordinance. What you see here today is a 1,535-foot proposed road. So obviously that exceeds our maximum 1,200 by 335 feet. In establishing that limitation, the ordinance goes on to say, except where, upon the recommendation of the planning board and the approval of the Board of Commissioners, existing conditions warrant a modification of this requirement. And so if you will note all the blue that you see on the screen, both the Bloomery Swamp, these existing ponds, and these buffered stream features that connect those would be the unique existing conditions that the applicant believes would justify this longer road length. The typical way you break up a road length would be to provide a stub road for the development of the adjacent property. But as you can see, the property is surrounded on three sides by these water features, which would increase not only the cost of doing a stub road, but it makes it not necessarily economically feasible, but not environmentally desirable, because we don't want to disrupt these natural features any more than we have to. The applicant has therefore requested a waiver of that subdivision requirement on the grounds that the location of this specific tract of land immediately adjacent to the Bloomery Swamp and surrounded by related streams, ponds, and their riparian buffers presents an unusual and unnecessary physical hardship for the developer per UDO Article 10, Section 10-8.2A. As I stated, the existence of the swamp and the streams and the ponds on three sides of the property would make the addition of a stub road costly and ultimately undesirable due to the required environmental impact. In this particular case, a denial of this waiver would likely result in just a shorter cul-de-sac road with fewer lots, because they would not be able to extend it beyond the 1,200-foot maximum allowance. The Technical Review Committee considered the waiver request for this subdivision back on October 2. The TRC specifically asked our Nash County Emergency Services Department and Fire Marshal's Office if this longer road length would present any specific safety concerns. In this particular case, they provided or answered that it did not provide any specific safety concerns. And so based on that answer, the TRC felt that given the location of these water features, they felt comfortable recommending approval of the subdivision waiver for this slightly longer than typical road. Planning Board considered this request on October 20th and voted unanimously to recommend approval of the waiver due to the fact that the subject property was impaired by existing water features on 3 sides. This is not a rezoning, so it does not require a reasonableness and consistency statement. This would just be a simple motion to approve or deny the waiver request. I noted at the beginning that this does not require a public hearing. However, we can hear from the applicant, Mr. Blair Alford, with Joyner Keeney is here this morning to represent this, and I would like to address the board, I'm sure, and answer any questions that you might have. Before we do that, I'll take any questions you have on the staff report.
Any questions for staff? Commissioner Davis?
Mr. Tyson, since we have benefit of having DOT representative here today, to your knowledge, is there any guidance from DOT on how long they will allow a stub street to be?
A stub street?
A cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac road.
Dead-end street, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
So that would be something that's regulated by the local development ordinance and not by DOT regulations.
Second part of that question is, when you said the EMS, et cetera, didn't have any issue with this, we've got 32 lots. Is there any criteria by which they made that decision on, or is it just looked at on a case-by-case basis? In other words, how many lots would it concern them?
Right. I would assume it is done on a case-by-case basis, but I can't necessarily say what they based their decision on other than the answer they gave at TRC, which was this particular one did not present a concern.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions for staff? Mr. Belfield?
I thought I heard you say that they're going to have public water and some that private on wells. Is that correct?
No, they will all be on county public water, but they'll have private individual septic systems.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none, would the applicant like to address the board?
Blair Alford, Joyner Keeney. If y'all got any questions, I'll be free to answer anything you got.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you, sir.
It's septic.
All right, is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, the only comment I'd like to make, I think it would be impossible, to be fair with the development community, but if we could also add this to the list of what we would be studying in our review of the... It's already on the list, okay, okay. I don't like having a set number of 1,200 feet, and then we continue to allow that. I know it bothers some members of the planning board as well, but in this case here, it's obvious that we need some flexibility in that, but if we could just review and maybe tighten up the guidelines by which we use flexibility, but that's probably the best we can do. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions? Hearing none, call for a motion to approve or deny the subdivision waiver. Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, sir. I move the Nash County Board of Commissioners approve the request to waive the standard maximum cul-de-sac length limitation for the Friday Cove subdivision based on physical hardships.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is that Commissioner Davis?
Yes, sir.
Got a motion, we got a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no.
No.
That motion passes. We will now take a 10-minute break. We will now move to agenda item number 10, fiscal year 2026 funding formula for Braswell Memorial Public Library. Call on the county manager to present the request. Good morning.
Good morning, thank you. And Ms. Corso has stayed for this item, so if we have any questions for her, she's available to us.
Thank you.
This item concerns current year funding for Braswell Memorial Public Library. Nash County, along with Edgecombe County and the City of Rocky Mount, provide funding to the Braswell Memorial Public Library. The funding formula was established in 2001 by the 3 jurisdictions, and it considers the population of Nash County, the City of Rocky Mount, and Edgecombe County Township 12, which is inside of the city limits of Rocky Mount. The formula also reflects the registrants using the library. The formula percentages used for funding in FY25, which was last year, for Nash County were 49% for Nash County, 37% for Rocky Mount, and 14% for Edgecombe County. Unfortunately, these percentages were used for FY26 with just adding a 3% increase to the budget. Nash County budgeted for 49% plus the additional 3%, totaling $947,653. Braswell's total budget with the 3% increase is $1,933,983. In the month of May, the City of Rocky Mount applied the formula criteria and recalculated the budget allocations. With the updated figures for population and registrants at the library, the FY26% allocations are Nash County 54%, Rocky Mount 32%, and Edgecombe County 14%. It is unclear when we moved away from the funding formula. As you may recall, Ms. Corso is now the second library director since the long-term incumbent, Ms. Catherine Roche. At some point, there was a move away from the funding formula, and the library began to request an annual 3% increase to the budget. City Manager Elton Daniels, Edgecombe County Manager Eric Evans, and I have discussed our need to meet to determine before the FY27 budget cycle how to move forward. The funding formula was agreed upon and signed off on by the 3 entities in 2001. We all agree the formula should be revisited and should come to some consensus about how to move forward. However, for the current year, the City of Rocky Mount intends to contribute 32% rather than the original anticipated 37%. Nash County budgeted 49%, but with the formula should contribute 54%. To provide Braswell Memorial Public Library with their anticipated budget for the current fiscal year, we are asking the Board of Commissioners to consider allocating the additional 5% to their budget. At present, in addition to the shortfall the library is anticipating from the 3 local funders, the state library has reduced their match based on this deficit. These percentages applied to the total budget are Nash County, $1,044,350.82. The City of Rocky Mount, $618,874.56. And Edgecombe County, $270,757.62, for the total budget of $1,933,983. The difference for Nash County between the $1,044,350.82 and what we budgeted at $947,653 is $96,697.82. The recommendation is for the board to approve the $96,698 in funding to Braswell Memorial Public Library for their current year budget. I will also say that as those calculations were done, there is an additional, I believe it's $7,000 that Eric Evans is going to be asking for from the Edgecombe Board of Commissioners to make this budget whole.
Any questions for staff? Commissioner Davis.
Ms. Sattler, how long have we, how many years has it been that we didn't follow the formula? Do you know that?
I do not know that. I know when I became manager and Ms. Roche was still in place, I recall a 3% increase to the budget. And that's been done, and then the formula was recalculated by the city in May.
I'll just state where I'm at with this, Mr. Chairman. I would like to know how long we've been off in the formula. And I'd also like to review my files of the formula, because there's one part about this that I don't remember it being that way. And I'd like for us to take action at the December meeting rather than today, if the board would agree to that, to give us time to get some of these other questions answered primarily. Or if all these years, if you tell me it's 5 years that we hadn't followed the formula, is there some amount that we're going to end up owing for those 5 years that one of the other entities is going to ask for moving forward? I just think we need to spend a little bit more time studying this situation rather than taking a vote on it today, but that's just my feelings. Thank you.
Other questions or discussion? Commissioner Howell?
This is fairly new to me. I'm still trying to understand it, but I was in a town meeting here recently, and it came up that some of these other libraries throughout the county fall underneath the Radcliffe Library. Does that follow underneath as far as just guidance, or is that under funding as well?
There is funding. Nash County budgets $15,000 for each one of our community libraries, and they receive those funds through Braswell.
So we give each, so this amount that we're asking for, is it going to affect the $15,000 to any other branches of the library?
No, those funds are already designated for those libraries.
So we're only giving $15,000 to the other branches, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Leggett? Commissioner Wilkins, excuse me.
That's okay. I take it Nash County bears the brunt of it because Braswell sits in Nash County, and it says it's by population. Are we using the population that's just in the city limits of Rocky Mount in Nash County, or you're using the whole Nash County?
Nash County.
And that's because the library sits in Nash County?
Correct.
Thank you.
Other questions? Commissioner Davis?
I don't think it would come into play that it actually sits in Nash County, because it sits in Nash County by 300 or 400 feet. But we're using the whole county population in Nash County, but we're only using Edgecombe County, what's located in the city of Rocky Mount, which is one of my questions I want to get more explanation on prior to taking action on this.
In the city,
Commissioner Belfield?
Isn't the city taking care of the part of Nash County that's in the city? Aren't they using the city formula population to contribute their amount here, which is 618,000?
And then Nash County is the rest of the population in Nash County. Correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought all the time. So we are using, in my checking, we're using that library more than city and Rocky Mount, because I don't know if you still have that mobile unit that go around in the communities out here in rural county. So I think the formula is okay.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Wilkins?
I just want to piggyback off what Commissioner Davis said, and Belfield. I mean, City of Rocky Mount uses that library, its citizens use it, and I have seen some come from the county, and Commissioner Davis alluded to that not much of Nash County engulfs the library, so to speak. In other words, it's in the city limits of Rocky Mount, but only by so many hundred feet. Was that what you said, Commissioner Davis?
That's what he said.
Okay.
Commissioner Wilkins.
And so, but either way, it's still in Nash County. Nash County benefits off the taxes. The city of Rocky Mount does also, but I'm inclined to agree with Commissioner Belfield. I'm okay with this formula right now.
Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to concur with Commissioner Davis's thoughts on pushing this back to the next meeting. I mean, we're already paying a large percentage of this, and again, as clarification come, I mean, I fully support the libraries, but we're only giving $15,000 out to the other libraries, and there's been some discussion about possibly closing some of those down.
That's not true.
That's some of the discussion that
It's
came up
rumor.
in board meetings.
It's rumor.
We probably need to put something out about that. But
I was going to address it today in my comments.
15,000 versus 2 million, that's a big disparity, so I would definitely like to look at this more and feel more equipped to make a better decision. So I agree with Commissioner Davis is to postpone this to December.
Is there any other discussion? Commissioner Arrington?
Well, the Brideswell Library is considered our main library for Nash County. And basically, those other libraries are supported to a certain degree by the main library, right? Correct? Right. So I guess we're, for some reason, kind of caught up in where the location of the library is, but the library is in Nash County, and the library serves all citizens that's willing to come to that library, whether they're coming from a certain part of Nash County or certain parts of Edgecombe County. All three entities are paying a share, but I don't want to look at this as saying Nash County is not taking, I'll say, biasness as far as sharing with another county, a particular institution here, which is the library that all citizens like to come regardless of their location. And with that said, the formula that we use maybe need more clarification on how it's applied.
Commissioner Davis?
I want to make sure we understand that what Ms. Belfield stated is not correct, that we utilize under the population formula all of Nash County, 96,000 people. Rocky Mount uses their 54, and Edgecombe uses the portion of Edgecombe that's located in Rocky Mount. We don't discount our percentage based on the part of Nash County that's in Rocky Mount population-wise. We're using the entire population. If you look at the formula, I think you'll all understand that.
And I will send the board the document that outlines the formula.
Well, and it's stated right, it's shown right here in our tablet, unless what we've got here is wrong.
Is that you're referring to the note from the city?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
You
Wait a
said
minute.
stated.
Hold on, Commissioner Arrington.
You
Commissioner
said-
Hold on, Commissioner Belfield. Commissioner Davis has got the floor. Are you through, Commissioner Davis?
With the statement I made, yes, sir.
Commissioner Arrington?
well, I guess now you trying to establish that Edgecombe County should have a boundary or how many miles they go outside of the city? Or what's the formula? What is that probably the only way you're going to establish how far they extend out that the citizens are coming to Brideswell Library?
Hold on, Commissioner Davis. I think Commissioner Belfield had a comment. Did you have a comment?
Nash
Commissioner Belfield?
County, as I said earlier, used the mobile unit to move around the county, taking books and things so that people can check them out and whatever. And this formula, I was told, did not include the population of the city of Rocky Mount. Rocky Mount City is handling their percentage come from their population in the city of Rocky Mount. And Nash County not using the total population of the county that falls in the city of Rocky Mount.
Commissioner Davis?
I'm only stating the fact of what we have in our agenda for today, and it states opposite of what Mr. Billfield is stating. I don't know whether it's right or whether it's wrong. That's why I'd like for us to get more clarity before we move forward with this.
Commissioner Leggett?
Mr. Chairman, I do support our libraries, and I would like very much to understand better the county's funding commitment here, and I would be in favor, if it's acceptable, to table this item to give the manager and commissioners additional time to research this funding request.
Is that a motion?
So moved
Second.
A motion to December?
to December.
We got a motion, we got a second from
Mr.
Commissioner Howell.
Mr. Chairman, would she reword that motion to say, because when you table it and you put it on the table, it depends whether someone brings it back up. Is that right?
You can just make a motion to a time specific.
That's why I mentioned December.
Okay, so it's not being tabled, it's just a motion till December, is that right?
A motion to table to December.
Correct.
Got a motion, you got a second? It's not debatable, that's my understanding of Robert's rules. So
Can't answer.
it's not debatable, is that correct? A motion to table is not debatable.
Not debating, excuse me. But a question on the specific motion.
All right, if you got a question on the motion, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Right. The question on the motion is, what specifically are you asking the county manager to come back information to us?
Is that your question?
I'll be glad to stay with mine.
Commissioner
In her
Davis?
motion.
I'll let Commissioner
You
Davis.
were tabling it, so when we table it, we're asking for specific information to come back to us so we can make a,
Asking for additional clarification.
It's my understanding that I will be providing the board with additional information about the funding formula, as well as the specifics on the populations used by each of the three entities.
okay? We just want to have clarification on, so she knows, all right?
Thank
So
you.
we all know.
Is it a question about the motion?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Howell?
And also to Commissioner Davis's point, as far as since the formula has changed, how will we paid for the last 5 years in comparison to the formula?
How many years?
Correct. We will look into that, and I will be able to provide the board with how many years. We have simply just added 3% versus calculating the allocations by the formula.
Does the motion need to be restated?
Well,
Commissioner Belfield, is it a question about the motion?
no, I was going to have a question about would Nash County
Sir, it's not, if it's a
involved
question about the
in
motion.
the formula?
If it's a question about the motion, the motion is not debatable, but if there's a question about the motion for clarification, I'll entertain it.
Table it and
Till
till
December.
next month's meeting?
That's correct. And I would,
Okay.
I would ask Ms. Commissioner Leggett if you would just clarify that motion. Exactly what we're looking for.
Okay, I would like to table the item for fiscal year 2026 funding formula for Braswell Memorial Library to be reconsidered on our December board meeting. And between now and the next meeting, if the manager could please provide additional information to the commissioners, the items that were discussed in today's meeting, please.
Which would include going back some number of years and looking when the formula actually was not used. All right, does everybody understand that motion?
Yes, sir.
All right, all in favor of that motion indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no.
No.
Motion passes. Thank you, Madam Manager. We'll move now to agenda item number 11. FY 2026 ambulance franchise agreements. Call on EMS Director Dale Griffin to present the request. And sir, I think this is the second of 2 requests that are required for this. Is that correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Good
morning.
This is the second that is required according to Nash County ordinance, the renewal agreement, the Nash County franchise agreements. They were presented October the 6th. They have to come before the board again, and I'm just recommending the Board of Commissioners approve the attached franchise agreements.
Any questions for staff? Any questions? Hearing none, is there a call for a motion to approve the final franchise agreement? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wilkins, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Howell. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Griffin.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Move now to agenda item number 12, Axon Taser Purchase Contract Agreement. Call on Major Curtis Moore to present the request. Good morning, Major Moore.
Good morning, Commissioner. How's everyone doing today? I hope everybody's doing well.
Good, sir. Hope you are.
So this is a renewal request. The Office of the Sheriff's Office is requesting the board's approval of a sole source exception to enter a 5-year contract with Axon Enterprise Incorporated for the purpose of 150 Taser X7 energy weapons with holsters, cartridges, batteries, charging stations, and a 5-year warranty and virtual training with instructor course. Justification for the sole source purchase is based on North Carolina General Statute 143-129E6, which allows for the exception to formal bidding when, number 1, performance and price competition is not available, 2, product is available from only one source, or 3, standardization or compatibility is the overriding consideration. And recommendation is the approval of this source exception and 5-year payment term contract with Axon Enterprise with the county manager's signature approval.
Any questions for Major Moore? Commissioner Davis.
Ready to the manager. Is this covered under the current budget we have adopted already?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Other questions? Hearing none, I call for a motion to approve the sole source exception and 5-year payment term contract with Axon Enterprise Incorporation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Howell. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you, Major Moore.
Thank you.
Give our regards to the sheriff.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for your continued support. Thank you.
Move now to agenda item number 13, resolution setting sheriff salary. Call on Human Resources Director Tim Kerrigan to present the request and read the resolution.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
According to general statute, as listed below, the Board of Commissioners is required to set the base salary for the sheriff by resolution no later than 14 days before the last day for filing notice of candidacy for office. The salary shown in the attached resolution reflects the hiring rate for the position of sheriff based upon the county's current pay plan. Note that adjustments may be made to the salary once the person is elected and takes office. Would you like for me to read the entire general statute, or would you like for me to read the resolution, or both?
Does anyone wish for the statute to be read? But I would like you to read the resolution.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Wilkins.
just for the public, if they wanted to read the statute, I just would make note, as they make notice 153A-92 of the general statute.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilkins.
Thank you,
Kerrigan,
Commissioner
you'd read the resolution.
Yes, sir. Resolution giving notice to all candidates for the sheriff position in Nash County. The Nash County Board of Commissioners is authorized by North Carolina General Statute 153A-92, has set the standard or starting salary for the sheriff position as provided below. This will affect the individual elected to the office when they take office. All other compensation elements are set forth in the Nash County Personnel Policy. The starting salary for the sheriff position will be $106,255 annually. This resolution will not be altered or amended until after the person elected as sheriff in the 2026 election takes office. Therefore, the Board of Commissioners may adjust the starting salary of the candidate elected, considering the years of service and performance and related experience of the person elected. Adopted this third day of November 2025.
Any questions for staff? I'll make sure I'm clear on this myself. So if Sheriff Stone is reelected, his salary would not change?
At this moment, nothing would change from this resolution, that is correct. So his current salary is within the range of the salary structure or the salary schedule.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion or
Mr.
questions? Commissioner
Discussion.
Wilkins?
I just want the public listening and those here to know, as Mr. Kerrigan said, Sheriff Stone's salary would not change, but if by some incident there is another sheriff in town, that starting salary would start at $106,255. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. It would state that it would not be below that amount. That would be the minimum amount of the salary range, or it would fall in that range.
Yeah, and on another note, I go back, really far back to Wilson County when the issue happened with Sheriff Woodard. I believe and Commissioner Davis can help me on this, I believe that Board of Commissioners neglected to follow that statute, and there was a lot of hoopla about that. So this is why we have to do it. We're not doing it, for any other devious reason, but because we have to do it.
Yes, ma'am, you're absolutely correct.
Any other
Thank you.
questions? All right, hearing none, I call for a motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner
Second.
Wilkins, there a second. Commissioner Belfield, all in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
appreciate it. We'll move now to agenda item number 14, monthly tax report. Call on the interim tax administrator, Shamika Tillery, to present the report, which is for information only.
Good morning,
Good
good
morning.
morning.
On it.
In keeping with General Statute 105-350, the tax collector will provide a monthly report showing the amount of taxes collected and efforts being made to collect taxes. This report is designed to keep the board current on activities in the tax collector's office. The report is designed for your information only and does not require approval. It is recommended that you accept the report so that it will be noted in minutes.
Any questions for Ms. Tillery? Hearing none, without objection, the report is accepted and will be so noted in the minutes. We'll move now to agenda item number 15, tax refund request. Ms. Tillery will present the information.
In compliance with North Carolina General Statute 105-381, the tax collector will submit to the governing body for their approval of a list of any tax refunds after legitimacy of the refund has been established. There are no refunds for consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Tillery.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move now to agenda item number 16, grant award acceptance. Call on the Grants and Intergovernmental Relations Director, Emily Moore, to present the request. Good morning, Ms. Moore.
Good morning. Nash County has been awarded a $500,000 Parks and Recreation Trust Fund grant. This grant will be used toward the acquisition of the Nash County Recreation Center and has a required match which was included in the purchase price of the facility. At this time, the funding agency requests that the Board of Commissioners approve the project agreement. The grant term is November 1st, 2025 through October 31st, 2028. So the recommendation is to approve the project agreement.
Any discussion from the board or questions? Hearing
Question.
none. Commissioner Davis?
Excuse me, sir. Are we utilizing this grant to purchase this property?
So we got a retroactivity waiver that allowed us to go ahead and purchase the building prior to the grant coming through. So it's the White Oak Road Church.
Oh, I realize that, but we are actually using this grant to buy the property?
We're reimbursing ourselves $500,000 on the purchase of the property, and those funds will be rolled over into the renovation project. But no, we have clearly already purchased the property. We were given a waiver that allowed us to apply for this grant and receive the $500,000 that we will use to fund the renovation work.
You've answered my question. I knew we had paid for it, so we're going to utilize that money that we've already paid, half of that money, or the $500,000 to put towards the cost of the renovations.
That is correct.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, hearing none, I call for a motion to approve the project agreement.
Move for approval.
Moved by Commissioner Leggett. Who made the second?
Second.
Commissioner Wilkins made the second. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. The motion passes. Move now to agenda item number 17, 2024 Community Development Block Grant, Neighborhood Revitalization Plans and Policy. Ms. Moore will present the information.
Nash County was awarded $1,655,000 for the 2024 Community Development Block Grant Neighborhood Revitalization Program by the North Carolina Department of Commerce's Rural Economic Development Department. Per the CDBG-NR grant agreement and funding conditions, the county must adopt compliance plans and policies. So the recommendation is to approve the program compliance plans and policies for 2024 Community Development Block Grant Neighborhood Revitalization.
Any discussion or questions from the board? Hearing none, I call for a motion to approve the program compliance plans and policies for 2024 CDBG-NR. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wilkins, second by Commissioner Belfield. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Thank you.
Move now to agenda item number 19, CDBG-CV Grant Project Ordinance Amendment. Call on the Finance Director, Nikki Stanton, to present. I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. Go back to number 18. Excuse me.
Thank you.
Northern Nash Water System Improvements, Phase 2 Capital Project. Finance Director Nikki Stanton will present the request. Excuse me for that.
That's okay. This is an amendment to the project ordinance for the Northern Nash Water System Improvement Phase 2 project. NCDEQ amended the amount of grant funding by $700,000. So this is a request to approve the amended capital project, recognizing the additional $700,000.
Or is there any discussion for staff? Any questions?
Just for clarification, in case there is a question, the board previously approved the amendment to receive the funds, and this is merely amending the project ordinance to recognize those funds. So this is not an additional $700,000 that we were not aware of. We'd already approved that agreement. This is just incorporating that into the ordinance.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Any other questions? All right, hearing none, I call for a motion to approve the amended capital project ordinance.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Davis. There a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leggett. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Now we'll move to agenda item 19, CDBG-CV Grant Project Ordinance Amendment. Ms. Stanton will present the request.
This is also an amendment to a project ordinance for the CDBG-CV grant. The amendment is splitting the $305,000 that was originally budgeted under public services to move $226,110 to public services equipment line, making it a little bit more specific with a subcategory.
Any questions for staff? Hearing none, I call for a motion to approve the project budget ordinance amendment.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Belfield. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leggett. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. Now we'll move to budget amendments.
Yes, and so on this budget amendment, we will need to take one at a time and get approval since the third one has been tabled until December.
Well, we can do that, or we can take 1 and 2 together.
Okay.
What would be the pleasure of the board? Any objection to taking 1 and 2 together?
Hear them all and then
Well,
approve
number
of them.
3 would be removed because we're tabled that to December. So without objection, we'll do 1 and 2.
Okay. So the first one is for cooperative extension. It's to recognize the revenue we've received and move it to the expense so that they can use it for expenditures for the New York City holiday bus trip. The second one is for Parks and Rec, and it's the same thing. They've received additional revenue, and it's to purchase equipment and supplies for the youth sports programs.
All right, any discussion from the board on those 2 items? Any discussion? All right, hearing none, I call for a motion to approve budget amendments 1 and 2.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wilkins, there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Arrington. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. Now we're going to move into the items that we added. The first one is 20A, update to Nash County Fiscal Policy Guidelines. Ms. Stanton will present the request.
The attached Nash County Physical Policy Guidelines directs the Finance Director to establish a cash management program designed to maximize the amount of cash available for investment. Within the investment section, item number 8 identifies the authorized official depositories approved by the board for investment purposes. This item further mandates that approved depositories maintain a national bond rating of AAA. Earlier this year, however, the U.S. credit rating was downgraded to AA. Approval of this investment necessitates an update to the finance policy designated by to designate the North Carolina Investment Pool and First Citizens Bank as authorized official depositories and to revise the required national bond rating from AAA to AA. Currently, the policy only lists North Carolina Capital Management Trust, U.S. Treasury securities, U.S. agency securities, and commercial paper as investment depositories. I'd like to have permission to add the North Carolina Investment Pool and First Citizens Bank.
Now, this is presented to me as an information-only item. So are you asking,
So the second one is information-only item. Maybe I got them mixed up.
I'm dealing with update to Nash County Fiscal Policy Guidelines.
They both have the same title. One is for information.
Okay,
The
well-
first one, okay.
Go back to the shorter one.
Okay, so the
That's
short one
I've got first.
is for information only. If the second part passes and you...
We're going to have to pass the first one.
Okay.
To do the second.
Let's go back to the first one then.
Sorry.
I'm sorry for the confusion. They were presented to me at the start of the meeting. So
Yeah, I apologize.
we'll go to the second one, which is the first one, and that's the information that you presented.
Yes.
All right, is there any-
My recommendation is to approve the proposed policy updates and the investment strategy.
All right, any questions or discussion from the board? Commissioner Davis?
Ben's, I was following on the wrong sheet. Could she present it again, please?
That'd be fine, sir.
So the request is to add 2 depositories to the investment policy, First Citizens Bank and the North Carolina Investment Pool. And it's to also amend the credit rating, bond rating from AAA to AA, because the U.S. credit rating was just downgraded to AA.
I'm still not.
In order for the finance director to be able to invest, the places that I can invest have to be approved by the board. Currently, there are only a few that are in our policy that are approved by the board. I'm asking for the board to add 2 additional depositories for me to be able to invest in.
Could you hold up which piece of paper you're talking about, please?
It's the fiscal policy guidelines with 2 sheets, sir.
I was given 2 of those. That's why I'm getting confused here. If you give me just a minute, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman,
sir.
I'll try to understand.
We'll take a minute for that.
I hear you saying, got that, but I got it again also. Okay. Yours, I got 2 of them already, I don't need enough. A question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I heard you say, what caught my ear is reduced bond rating. Tell me what you're talking about there. You're not talking about Nash County.
No, I'm talking about, the policy requires that in order, that rated no lower than AAA, that we can't invest in any that are lower than AAA. But the U.S. bond rating just got changed to AA. They've changed their standards, and so it's AA now. So I'm just asking to amend that from AAA to AA.
Okay. Why would we do that rather than just stick with what's left at AAA?
Because the U.S. agency securities and U.S. Treasury securities are now AA, so we'd have very limited investment opportunities.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions or discussion? Commissioner Howell?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And so none of these changes to this policy would do anything as far as risk to our primary investment, correct?
Absolutely not, no.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Isn't
Commissioner Belfield?
AAA greater than AA? Why are we downgrading to AA?
Because the credit rating scale just changed, and so there are limited ways to invest in AAA.
Okay,
Some of the ones that we've already got listed on our policy are no longer AAA.
okay.
Other questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner
just a
Wilkins.
clarification. You're saying the United States went itself, our country went from AAA to AA. And when did this happen officially?
I'd have to look, but it was recently.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? All right. So at this time, I'd call for a motion to update to Nash County Fiscal Policy Guidelines the information that was just presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wilkins, there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Arrington. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. Now, Ms. Stanton, if we would go to the information-only item.
Okay, sorry for the confusion.
No problem.
This is information based on you passing the policy updates. There was a recent analysis of our idle cash on hand. Nash County currently holds $38 million in uninvested funds. To optimize returns while maintaining liquidity and adhering to policy guidelines, I propose the following allocation: $7.5 million in long-term investment options with First Citizens Bank and $2.5 million in short-term instruments through the North Carolina Investment Pool. With the Federal Reserve having reduced rates by 0.25% this month and another similar cut anticipated in December, I recommend acting promptly to secure current yields before further declines.
So the statement, I propose the following allocation, that requires no action from this board?
Correct, this is just for
that proposed
transparency.
allocation?
This is just for transparency and for your information.
Any questions for staff? Commissioner Davis?
How was the decision made with the first item?
So I met with three of the representatives from First Citizens. They came by, I've actually got information from both places, and they basically outlined a plan of investments and returns, and that's how.
Did other banking entities get a chance to look at it as well?
North Carolina Investment Pool. They do short-term investments. First Citizens does long-term investments. We currently bank with Southern Bank, and that is a subsidiary of First Citizens Bank.
Okay. But did other banking industries, I realize First Citizens, Southern, or kind of sort of one and the same, were there other banking institutions that got a chance to look at this?
They have not.
Do we usually make decisions based on talking to only one entity?
In the past, investments were made through commercial paper with a specific entity. I'm a member of the North Carolina Investment Association, and so I meet all of these vendors at conference, and I've talked to all of them, and so I've gotten information from all of them, yes. But as far as specifically reaching out, showing them our policy and getting information from them on how they would suggest our investments go, no, I've not reached out to anybody else.
Not to hold this up, Mr. Chairman, I would like the manager to inform the board a little more information about how this process works. It doesn't seem right that we would just be dealing with one entity without having benefit of what other people could do. We don't do it when we borrow money, so I would think we may not should be doing it when we invest in money, but I'm not sure I know exactly what she's doing.
I'll provide more information.
Okay.
Any other questions? Commissioner Howell?
So just clarification. So just clarification. So you've attended a conference where multiple banks were there, and they presented to you what they could offer, which prompted you to follow up with this particular entity because they had the best offering that would suit the county's needs. Is that correct?
Correct. And we currently, per the policy, there are only limited places we can invest. That's why I needed to add these two. However, we currently do have investments with the Capital Management Trust. This would give us two more options, so we'd actually be investing with 3 different entities at this point. It would not be just one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, that's an informational item, so we'll go to the third item. Ms. Stanton will present it, NCDEQ Grant Wastewater and Water Infrastructure Project.
This is an amendment to the DEQ Water and Wastewater Infrastructure Project. We are working with, and you can help me with this, some water construction at the town of Middlesex and Ammons. We had funding in the DEQ and expenses listed for the town of Middlesex. This is just an amendment to move those expenses over to the actual Ammons project that's provided by the railroad company Build Ready Site Grant. So it's just a reduction of $292,720 from this project to the next one I'm going to talk about.
Any questions for staff? Any questions? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the amended project ordinance amendment?
I do need to ask one question, Mr. Chairman. I
Go ahead,
apologize.
Chairman Davis, Commissioner Davis.
We're going to get more explanation about this from Mr. Boone in a moment, is that correct?
That is correct.
So we kind of cart before the horse a little bit, possibly.
If you do not approve the next agenda item, then the amendments to the project budget ordinance will become a moot point. So you could still amend it, and then we would not act on it, but yes, you are correct.
That's Chairman's call.
What's the feelings of the board? I don't make independent calls.
Normally, we would do a item after the item is explained to us. This time, we're being asked to do it before the item is explained to us, is my concern, Mr. Chairman.
Are you asking to table this motion?
No, sir. I understand enough about it, I'm okay.
So you're okay with it?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Commissioner Howell?
Question, sir. Can we bring this up and make a motion and second it and then have some discussion on it before we actually close it out? It would maybe clarify some of the questions, some of the other board members.
Is there a motion to approve the amended project ordinance?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Howell, is there a second by Commissioner Davis? All right, further discussion? Is there any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Howell?
So this is tied to the Middlesex Ammons project or 5-county project, which has been talked about for economic development. And this is extending the water lines out to that facility. And I think there'll be more discussion in a moment, but basically, the town of Middlesex is putting up a new water tower, also digging a new well, which will provide water to this site and also additional water between that site and the current water tower that's going to be placed there on Stokes Road. That's going to be done at the town's expense, which is the reason for the change in this from the county as well. Is that correct, Mr. Boone?
That's correct.
Other questions? All right, you've heard the motion. I think we've got the second. No further questions. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. We'll move now to North Carolina Railroad Company Build Ready Site Grant. Ms. Stanton will present that request.
Okay, this is in conjunction with the last one. Received bids on the extension of an 8-inch water line to serve the Ammons site. North Carolina Railroad has agreed to increase the original grant award from $456,450 to contingent $500,000. These funds can be used for engineering, design, and land preparation. The original agreement was approved by the board on February 5th, 2024. The project will require funding from the county of $357,280. This is an increase of $69,280 from the $288 initially approved by the grant match. This is an amendment to recognize the additional $69,280,000, the additional $292,720 from the DEQ project, as well as the difference in the $456,450 to $500,000 from North Carolina Railroad.
Any questions for staff? Commissioner Howell.
Just a statement, sir, just to make sure I'm correct on this. We've already approved this, it's just they are going to award us more money, because they're awarding us more money. The increase in the award is prompting us to do an increase in our match as well, is that correct?
Other questions? All right, the recommendation is to approve the amended project budget ordinance contingent on funding from NCRR in the town of Middlesex. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Howell. Is there a second?
Second.
Who made that, Commissioner Davis? Second by Commissioner Davis. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Stanton.
Thank you.
Move now to agenda item, the last agenda item under 20, be 20E, 5-County Raleigh Site Water Main Extension. Call on Deputy County Manager Jonathan Boone to present the request. Mr. Boone.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Morning.
So to provide a little more context on the last few requests, recall that the county entered into a partnership with the Ammons family to develop some acreage that the Ammons family owns on US 264 alternates in the southern tip of Nash County, which is also contiguous to the North Carolina Railroad short line that passes through Nash County into Wake County. And as part of that, partnership with the Ammons Group, Nash County applied for a grant from the North Carolina Railroad, which you just previously discussed, and we have amended that funding now based on North Carolina Railroad's willingness to increase that funding from $456,450 to $500,000. And part of the match requirements attached to that grant was for the county to provide a 40% match on the total cost of the project. So while North Carolina Railroad's investment was limited to $500,000, the county was required to provide 40% of the total project cost. So I just want to provide that as a bit of context. So with the grant funding, the intentions were to extend an 8-inch water line from the town of Middlesex to the Ammons property. And again, now we're referring to that project as the 5-County Rail Site, and extend a water main just a little less than 2 miles. It's right at 1.9 miles along US 264 alternate to serve this property. And those bids were opened, the project was designed, bids were opened back in late August. We received 4 bids at that time. Bids ranged from $1,085,845 to $1,410,350. Again, that was across 4 bids, and you have a copy of the bid tab in your supporting documentation. That certified bid tab identified Herring Rivenbark as the lowest responsive bidder, with a total base bid, again, of $1,085,845, and that was for the base bid. There was a base bid and an alternate that was included with that bid. As the base bid submitted by Herring Rivenbark exceeded the funds available for the project, staff worked with Matt Gay and Associates, who's the design engineer, and representatives with Herring Rivenbark to determine how best to modify the project to reduce the project cost. So still achieve the extension of the water main to serve the proposed rail site, but to reduce the project cost to, in turn, reduce the amount of additional funding required to complete the project. Based on these efforts, we were able to modify the pipe material to be used on the project, some of the quantities the method of construction, and to incorporate the add alternate into the project. In terms of costs, this equated to a reduction of $151,895 for a revised contract amount, if approved, of $933,950. So while we reduced the cost of the project, it still exceeded the funds available. Based on North Carolina Railroad, at the time, we did not have the agreement, but their verbal commitment to increase the funding from $456,450 to $500,000. This left a budget shortfall of $316,950. Because this water main will become the property of the town of Middlesex to serve this site, once the project is completed and the contract warranty period expires, staff approached the town of Middlesex about assisting the county with bridging the funding shortfall. The town of Middlesex, at their meeting last month, agreed to provide an additional $163,750 towards the cost of this project. So again, out of the $316,950 shortfall, they agreed to provide an additional $163,750. And for clarification, this would come from funding that the county approved from the state-directed grant funds that we received and were allocated to 6 jurisdictions within the county. You may recall the town was awarded $750,000. So of that $750,000, they have agreed to allocate $163,750. But as was alluded to earlier, the town has also agreed to fund construction of additional 250,000-gallon elevated water tank and an additional groundwater supply well to provide adequate pressure and water supply to this site. So again, while not bridging the entire $316,950, the town agreed to provide about half of the remaining funding. So to provide the remaining funds required for the project, again, I mentioned the 40% match requirement as a condition of the grant received from the North Carolina Railroad. So this would require the county to provide another $69,280 in grant match funds. Staff is proposing that those funds come from the general fund, and unless the board prefers otherwise, from fund balance. And then the remaining $128,970, the county would provide from, again, that same pot of funds, state direct grant funds, but funds awarded or retained by the county for water and wastewater system improvements. That will be the source of the remaining funds for this project. So if you're trying to do the math, and I know there's a commissioner or two that like to review my math, I do want to make you aware that the amended amounts do provide for a contingency of $45,050. So if you're trying to add all these numbers up and get $316,950, you will see that I've included an additional $45,050 in contingency for this project. So based on the certified bid tab and the proposed funding, staff recommends that Nash County award the 5-county rail site water main extension project to Herring-Rivenbark in the amount of $933,950. In addition to approving award of the contract based on the revised contract amount that we have negotiated, it is also recommended that the commissioners authorize the county manager to execute the contract with Herring-Rivenbark, subject to receipt of an executed interlocal agreement with the town of Middlesex for the funding aforementioned, again, $163,750, that they have committed to the project, approval by NCDEQ for use of $128,970 in state grant funds to this project, and review and approval of all these documents by the county attorney on behalf of Nash County. So I know that's a lot to absorb, so I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Commissioner Davis.
In the joint agreement, will there be any mention of the other 2 items that the town of Middlesex is providing, being a water tank and possibly a well?
Yes, sir. I anticipate there will be reference to the additional $1.2 to $1.5 million in infrastructure improvements that the town will provide to support this project.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? Commissioner Howard.
And in its agreement, will there be some verbiage in there to any of those citizens that's along that water line path, that 1.9 miles of extension, that in the future would need water, can be accessible either through the county or through the town of Middlesex, since those citizens are at the furthest southern end of the county?
I certainly think the intent would be to pursue some language that would allow the county to work with the town of Middlesex to provide water to areas outside of the town. And I know it is the town's intent to, if this property is to be served, that it be annexed into the town limits by satellite annexation. So certainly the town would retain that flexibility, but I certainly would look for the county to have some flexibility to access water to serve other properties in the incorporated portion of the county contiguous to this water main.
Thank you. That's my concern, is just going right by Brantley Road, and y'all as citizens on Brantley Road and continue with growth. And then as they come in, these wells are already dropping from the increase in density in the area, so they just need to have a water option for them, since we're running it right by them.
Right. Yes, sir.
Any
Duly
other
noted.
questions? All right, is everyone clear on the recommendation? Commissioner Belfield?
I have a question. Middlesex is going to supply the water here. Where are they getting their water from? Is it from Zebulon or from the Wilson City Reservoir?
They currently operate and maintain several groundwater supply wells and are looking to develop an additional groundwater supply well as a result of this project. The town, to my knowledge, does not have an interconnect with any other public water supply system, although part of the project that will be funded with the state-directed grant funds that the county received are improvements in the southern part of the county that will provide for emergency interconnect with the town of Middlesex. But as of today, the town is self-sufficient, and their water supply is from groundwater supply wells.
So the park is going to establish its own wells, water supply? And if they have a emergency, anything they can pull from Middlesex? Is that what you're saying?
No, sir. I'm saying the town of Middlesex currently operates their own groundwater supply wells to supply water to all their customers. They are looking to develop an additional groundwater supply well to serve this site. In addition to the town's work, infrastructure improvements to support the five-county rail site, the county is pursuing water system improvements that would provide for an emergency interconnect to the town of Middlesex. But that interconnect does not exist today. So your question was, do they currently have an interconnection with any other public water supply system? The answer, as of today, is no. But we are looking to provide an emergency interconnect to the town as part of a project that the county is pursuing. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. But that is not contingent on this project. That's just to provide an opportunity for really an interconnect both ways. If the county would need water because of issues with the water supply system, as we encountered earlier this year, where we purchased some water from the town of Bailey, we would also have the opportunity to purchase water from the town of Middlesex. So that interconnect could work both ways, but that is not in place today. Middlesex is self-contained, and they operate groundwater supply wells.
I don't know. I see it could be a water supply problem in the future.
And that is why we're looking to install an emergency interconnect with the town of Middlesex, so they could buy water from the county, and the county could buy water from the town.
Any other questions? Is everybody clear on the recommendation? All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Howell, is there a second?
Second.
That Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Davis. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I just would like to say, I realize this is rather complicated, and it's a lot of moving parts, but it has a timing issue with the contractor that Mr. Boone did mention that necessitated him bringing it to the board today and present so much stuff. Mr. Howell and I got a briefing on it at another meeting last week that made us understand it better. And I appreciate that meeting because I do understand what exactly we are doing, but it is very complicated, and staff has done a great job putting it together, but because of a timing on a bid, it's the reason it had to be so much stuff brought to us today that we haven't seen before today. and no reflection on the staff's ability.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Is there any other discussion before we vote? All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. All right, we'll move now to agenda item number 21, County Manager's Budget Authority. Call on the county manager to present the information. And this information does not require any action.
That's correct. This is information only, and I appreciate Commissioner Howell sharing his concerns in the October board meeting so that I could put this information together and make sure that our board members are fully aware of the authority of the county manager when it comes to the management of the budget. And so I just want to address his expressed concerns over transparency in the management of the annual budget. He identified areas of authority allowed by the county manager in the annual budget ordinance, but he did not share that I am to exercise sharing that information with this board whenever I do use those authorities, which I do. After a conversation with Commissioner Howell, I learned that there was a misunderstanding about my authority. Therefore, I have a brief presentation to share with the board and the public on the manager's budget authority. We are in an environment where the public and certainly our board needs to understand how our budget is managed and the safeguards Nash County has in place to prevent overspending. Commissioner Howell suggested that the board receive at least quarterly budget summaries. The board receives monthly summaries in the monthly status report. Commissioner Howell and I did discuss an even more detailed budget summary moving forward, and that is what we will provide to the board. Should you desire any additional detail, please do not hesitate to ask. I want nothing more than each of you to have a full understanding of our budget and the budget ordinance, my authority under the budget ordinance, and your responsibility under the budget ordinance. Nash County administration and department heads work in a culture of spending with transparency. Financial oversight from our finance office has won awards for decades. Nash County has had a long history of producing clean audits. Let me be clear. The threat of overspending Nash County government's annual budget without the knowledge of this board does not exist outside of a violation of county policy. This board sets the annual budget. Any change to that amount is the authority of this board and this board alone. Those changes are made only through your monthly approval of budget amendments. My hope is that this presentation will clear up any misunderstandings about the county manager's authority in managing the annual budget. If there are any questions today or in the future, I encourage you to reach out. So today, we're going to go over
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Okay, sorry. Today, we're going to go over the Nash County Annual Budget Ordinance, Section 10 of the ordinance that talks about the county manager's authorizations, Section 11, which talks about contractual obligations, and Section 12, which addresses reserves and encumbrances. Oh, you're going to do it for me? Thank you. Thank you. I've got too much going on up here. Okay. So the budget ordinance is a legal document that outlines the financial plan for a local government or a public authority during a fiscal year. And our fiscal year starts July 1 and ends July 30th. It contains all of our departmental schedules and fees, a summary of the revenues by source, a summary of expenditures by function, and a summary of the positions in the county. It also includes the capital improvement plan, the outside agency funding, the fire district tax rates, and a summary of all expenditures and accounts. The current budget ordinance, as well as previous year budget ordinances, can be found on the county's website. I will acknowledge that the budget ordinance that is presented this year, we are in transition, working on our new budget book, and if some of those details are missing, we will be glad to provide them. Okay, so Section 10, the county manager's authorizations. The county manager may transfer amounts between objects of expenditures within a department without limitation and without a report being requested by the board. So this action refers to line item transfers, and I'm going to ask Jonathan to show us the next slide. This is an example of, it's an example of our intergovernmental and grants budget. And so we have what is called our org. The first three numbers of that org, 010, is that fund. That's the general fund, 010. 4125 is the org for grants and intergovernmental for that budget. And then the object is the second set of numbers. And I've highlighted 526,000, which is one that we're all very familiar with in working with our budgets. That's our supplies line item. So this action refers to line item transfers. Department heads are responsible for managing their budgets. When there's a need to move money from one line to another, department heads will make a line item transfer request to the finance office. The finance office will verify that those funds are available to move from one line to another, and then the request will come to me for my approval. This movement does not change the total budget for the department. It simply is a mechanism in place that allows the department heads to manage their budgets. So I've also highlighted on this screen down at the far right at the bottom, that's your total org amount. So I've been trained my whole career that that total org amount does not change unless this board does a budget amendment to change it, okay? So when the department heads are requesting line item transfers within their budget, that never changes that total org amount. So we can go back to item number 2. So item number 2 is the county manager may transfer amounts up to $10,000 between departments of the same fund with an official report on such transfers at the next regular Board of Commissioners meeting. I think this is the item where we had some discussion, I had some discussion with Commissioner Howell. So this is saying that in Fund 010, that as the county manager, I have the authority to move up to $10,000 from one org in Fund 010 to another org, from one budget to another. That would change that total org amount if I moved money from one org to another. Although the ordinance provides me with this authority, I do not do it. I have not done it. I have not, in my time as your county manager, moved money from one org to another. The third item there is that the county manager may transfer $25,000 from any contingency appropriation within a fund with an official report to the board of the transfers. In that instance, so that's from a contingency. So we have lots of construction contracts that have contingency lines in them. And then our fund 010 has a contingency line in it. It has for years. It is set generally annually at $15,000. On June 6th of 2022, I reported to the board that I moved that $15,000 from that contingency into buildings and facilities to accommodate for dehumidifiers that were needed down at the Ag Center. I think all of you are very familiar with the work that we did down at the Ag Center and the troubles that we had there. We moved $15,000, the whole contingency line item in Fund 010, to public facilities so that they could pay for dehumidifiers that were needed. So that item has happened one time in my time as your manager, and it was reported to the board in my manager's report on June 6, 2022. You can go to the next slide. So are there any questions about line item transfers, department heads' ability to move money between lines, and my authority to move up to 10,000, which again, I'm trained that changes your total org figure, and aside from an emergency, I would not do that. That would be a budget amendment on your part, or if I did have to do it in an emergency, I would report that to the board.
Any questions?
Okay? So the next item is that the county manager may approve the transfer of all capital appropriations as budgeted in the county capital improvements to the departmental line item budget without being brought back to the Board of Commissioners for approval. So this screenshot that I have here, you all are very familiar with this. This is how the capital improvement program was presented to you multiple times throughout the budget process, preparing for the budget. This is just a snapshot of it. It's not the total amount. And if you will recall, we approved just over $2.7 million for capital projects. So this authorization simply allows for once the county departments are ready to move forward with these individual capital projects, the county manager has the authorization to move the funds from the county project's budget into the departmental budgets. We don't put those funds directly in the departmental budgets at the beginning of the fiscal year. We put them in a capital budget, and once the department is ready to move forward with that expense and has provided the finance office with appropriate bids, contracts for that work, then the funds are moved into their department. Those funds have already been approved by this board in the budget ordinance, in the annual budget process. This is simply putting them where they can be used by the department. The next item, the county manager may authorize amendments as requested by the finance officer at the end of the fiscal year in order to maintain budgetary compliance for reporting of leases, and that's GASB 87, subscription-based information technology agreements, and that's GASB 96, the social services representative payee fund, and fines and forfeitures with a report to the Board of Commissioners. And so this authorization would only be utilized at the end of the fiscal year to maintain budgetary compliance in these areas. And should this authorization be used, it would be reported to the board. For Section 11, contractual obligations, the county manager or her designee may award and execute contracts from construction or repair projects which do not require formal competitive procedures that are within budgeted departmental appropriations. So these are smaller contracts for construction and repair that have been budgeted in the departmental budgets, such as with facilities and maintenance, when we need to do minor renovations, when we're turning a storage area into an office. This year, we have money in the budgets of tax and finance to make some adjustments like that. Item number 2, may reject bids and re-advertise for bids for all formal bids of apparatus, supplies, material, and equipment as stated in General Statute 143-129. Letter E in this general statute lists exemptions, and those are mentioned here. The requirements of this article do not apply to the purchase, to apply to purchase, lease, or other acquisition of any apparatus, supplies, materials, or equipment. And then item number 3, may award and execute contracts for 1, purchases of apparatus, supplies, materials, or equipment that do not require formal competitive bid procedures and within the budgeted departmental appropriations. And 2, leases of non-capital assets within departmental appropriations. And 3, contracted and professional services which are within budgeted departmental appropriations. So this is a summary of the manager's authority under procedures for letting contracts. Number 4, may execute grant agreements to and from public and nonprofit organizations which are within the budgeted appropriations unless a grantor organization requires execution by the Board of Commissioners. So these are the funds that the board has approved in the budget ordinance for outside agency funding, and this item just allows us to carry out that work by entering into contracts with those agencies for those funds that were already approved. Number 5, may execute contracts as the lessor or lessee of real property which are of a duration of 1 year or less, which are within the budgeted departmental appropriations. Again, these are contracts which align with the general statute limitations and are budgeted in our annual budget and approved by you. Number 6, the county manager may approve change orders up to $25,000 per occurrence within a budgeted project with an official report to the board. This authority is granted to the county manager. However, again, when it's utilized, it's reported to the board. Very rarely would those authorities be utilized if we have time to bring it to the board first. If we ever have time to bring it to the board first, that's what we do, and that is 99% of the time what is done. And then they are authorized to declare surplus and personal property valued at less than $30,000 for any one item or group of items to set its fair market value and to convey title to the property of the county in accordance with GS 160A-266C. And this item is utilized when disposing of goods such as used vehicle, used equipment, used furniture, etc. This is an area where Melanie, serving as our procurement officer, and generally it's Mike Phillips in facilities maintenance. The two of them work together on surplusing our used property. Section 12 is for reserves and encumbrances. The reserves for encumbrances on June 30th, 2025, and that would be on June 30th of any year, and carry over appropriations representing prior commitments as of that date shall be reappropriate pursuant to GS, General Statute 159-13, to the departments within the various funds unless excluded by the county manager. Expenditures against these encumbrances may be made during the fiscal year, and that would be any fiscal year, as the previous commitments are satisfied. So basically, under this statute, sufficient funds to meet the amounts to be paid during the fiscal year under continuing contracts previously entered into shall be appropriated. And if you'll recall, that is an exercise that our finance officer goes over with the board at the start of each new fiscal year, reviewing, reappropriating funds that need to carry over to carry out our obligations. I'll be glad to take any questions.
Questions?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Howell?
Just would like to take this opportunity to thank the county manager for her presentation today and additional information on the budget detail and reports. The goal of my request here is to enhance our budget transparency. And really what I'm looking for is the Munis report that shows our expenditures on a month-to-date, our revenues on a month-to-date with a cumulative year-to-date. And I understand we're getting a status report, but I went back and reviewed those since January. And none of them we've received since January prior to October, when we just received, is legible or complete. They were cut off, the account information is missing, and they're not the complete line item by department. So really, it's important for us to use detail in a simple way that we can show the public how the funds are raised and spent. It allows the citizens, it allows us as the commissioners and government officials and activities to ensure accountability, enabling public participation in the budget process. In no way have I've come across as trying to question or do anything to your integrity as far as what you're doing or making accusations. I apologize if that's the case, because that's not my intent. My intent is to make this government budget as transparent and critical for accountability and public trust that allows our citizens to understand how taxpayer money is being raised and spent. The transparency can lead to better governments, continued positive audits, improved public services, inform citizens in decisions about budget priorities, ensuring that the spending aligns with community needs, improve government's transparency that can lead to more targeted budget priorities and operational efficiency. I would like to encourage my fellow commissioners to come together to establish an online access budget data that would be easily accessible and understandable, as this is public record and public information. So in lieu of sending us the status report each month, I would like for that to be posted on our website with the hyperlink being sent to the commissioners. That way we could click on it and go through it and scroll through it and look at it. And that way the public has access to it as well. And that would reduce the workload of having to take those and copy those and scan those in. And it's just they get offline when you're trying to scan those into the system. And it would eliminate that process, which would streamline productivity for the county. So just trying to get the information that's out there to look at, and really not looking at moving from department to department as much as I am as seeing the activity that goes along in each department. And I'll use an example. When I came on in December of last year, I met with an exiting employee from EMS, and there was concerns about the ballistic vests. We'd had them for 3 years. They had put in a request for 3 years to have those items replaced. We were told we didn't have the funds. It was presented for me. We were told we didn't have the funds to do it. And when I actually go back and you dive into it and looked at the numbers, and I pulled the lap salaries that were available, we had the lap salary there. There was $400,000 in lap salary. So those vests got purchased and taken care of, and our employees were taken care of. So just trying to give all the commissioners up here the accessibility to be able to look at this and come up with innovative ways that we can come to take care of the needs of our employees of the county. So that's why I'm asking for this, and therefore I'd like to make a motion that our county manager and IT department, along with the finance director, create an online viewable version of our budget activities, which is already existing in Munis, reports which details our revenues and expenditures on a month-to-date and a cumulative year-to-date for the fiscal year for all funds by department.
All right, do we need a motion on that, or is that something, the recommendation that you would feel that you could provide?
I would like to ask some questions and dive into that a little bit more so that we're clear about what the request is. And in the October report, what you and I had talked about making more information available, was that sufficient, or you're
That was-
asking for more?
That was the first report that you actually could read. I went back and reviewed all of them from January through September, and they're either cut off, so you can't see, you may have the numbers, but you can't see the accounts, so you don't know what's it's in reference to, or either it shows the accounts, but then the year-to-date's cut off. And then I'm assuming that's basically uploaded in a machine, from a paper copy into that. So by doing this electronically, and the report's already been generated, if we post it and just include the hyperlink to the commissioners in our status report, it would take that workload off the individual that's doing that now and streamline the process. Plus, it's two-part. Then it gives all of our citizens in Nash County the ability to click on it as well and have access to it and look at it anytime. And it's not that we're doing anything inappropriate, it's just sharing that, hey, we are transparent in what we do here, and we're proud of it.
Yeah, I think we need to talk more when you're talking, I just need to understand more. I mean, we wouldn't have a system, we wouldn't have the ability for folks to be able to get into our financial system and see. So we would still have that manual piece of printing and scanning, right?
Okay?
Yeah. So, well,
Would you be agreeable to meeting with the manager and working through the
Absolutely,
details?
sure.
I mean, if she would entertain the recommendation, then we could do that without a motion.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want to provide information. That's what our job is, as your staff, is to provide the information. So I just need to get more clarity, and we'll go from there.
Can you guys meet and maybe get a report back at the December meeting?
Sure.
Is that agreeable to you, Commissioner
Yes, sir.
Howell? Is that agreeable to everyone else?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Manager.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we're going to move to agenda item number 22, Commissioner comments. Does any commissioner have any comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Leggett.
Thank you. I'd like to take this time to say thank you to our veterans as we approach Veterans Day next week. We appreciate your lifetime of contributions to our freedom and liberties that the rest of us enjoy each day. Also, thanks to the county staff for getting the county building equipped to participate in Operation Greenlight. So as you drive by our county building next week and see it lit up green, know that we remember and honor our veterans. I'd also like to remind my fellow commissioners of this year's Farm City Breakfast, which is going to be held on Tuesday, November 18th at 8 a.m. at the Nash County Ag Center. Thank you.
Any other comments from commissioners?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Wilkins?
In our joint meeting last week with the school board, I again brought up the subject of a $500 bonus for classified workers. I asked the superintendent if this Board of Commissioners were to approve such a bonus, knowing that by statute, we cannot tell them what to use the funding for. I asked him, would he agree to use it for classified workers? He said that he would. I asked that the county manager work with the superintendent again, or request that the county manager work with the superintendent again to fund a bonus to our classified public school workers by the December 8th agenda for us to revisit it and consider it before this year comes to an end. Our classified workers are very critical to the school system. Much focus is given on the teachers, and probably rightfully so. But the classified workers, we've got bus drivers, cafeteria workers, and again, we've got custodians, we've got mechanics who are working, and a $250 bonus that the school system is planning to give them. By the time taxes come out, they will only get about $200, and part-time classified workers won't even get that. I implore this board to visit it one more time, and I ask, Mr. Chairman, that the county manager reach out to the school board or to the superintendent and try to come back with a report at the December meeting. Thank you.
Any other comments from commissioners? Commissioner Davis?
I think I will choose to remain silent on the item Commissioner Wilkins had for the present time, but on the building permitting report that I normally try to give, I would like to state that during the last month of October, we had about $13 million worth of commercial construction. We had a total of 62 new home permits issued. Of those 62, I did see a little bit of a trend more towards manufacturing homes, and I'm thinking possibly that may have something to do with the economy like it is and interest rates. But we had 40 stick-built homes. We had 22 manufactured homes for the total of 62. The highest priced stick-built home was $500,000. The highest priced manufactured home was $250,000. And of those 62 permits that were issued, they were issued to 16 different builders throughout the county, and they were pretty well scattered again throughout the county in the commissioners' districts. Of course, not equally because they move around quite a bit, but there was some disbursement throughout the entire county. The other item that I'd like to bring forward for the board to consider, in years past, we did not do this last year, but in years past, we have had a holiday gathering, a Christmas gathering of the board, and the staff members that the manager's office chose, generally it is administrative staff, and I'd like to see us return to that practice again. I think at this time, in this board's work, that it would provide some benefit to us to gather in a friendly environment and to celebrate the season that we'd be in. I would request we would consider that. If a commissioner wishes to volunteer and do that, certainly, I know Commissioner Outlaw has done it in the past. I have done it in the past, and I'm certainly willing to do it again, but if another commissioner wishes to do it, that would be even better. But if you need someone to do it, I have got permission, as the gentleman said earlier, here in a public hearing from my wife to offer that, but I'd certainly like to see us do it if we consider that. Certainly not looking at an answer today, but pretty soon, because a date needs to be picked, and we need to have the benefit of the commissioner that chooses to do it or is going to do it to have time to facilitate that. With that said, Mr. Chairman, that's what I'd like to say.
Other comments from commissioners?
I just want to
Mr. Belfield?
reiterate what I said earlier about zoning and redevelopments. We need to take this serious about buffers and agriculture built right next to farming land where the farmer has to spray and they start complaining and irrigating. We need to look at water supply and all of that as we make decisions for these large developments, 40 houses, 50, and I think one came in going to build 100. That's a cluster, and it could eventually, in the future, create a problem, and I think we need to consider that as we vote for this zoning request, rezoning.
Thank you, Commissioner Belfield. Any other comments? All right, I've got one comment I want to make. As I have previously stated, and since I will not be seeking re-election next year, I want to be very clear that I will not seek or accept the nomination at our December meeting for chair or vice chair for 2026. Although I will not be serving as chair or vice chair for 2026, I just want to assure my constituents, this board, that I will work harder than ever from my District 5 seat to promote unity, transparency. It has been a theme for the year. I'm proud of what we have accomplished. We have not accomplished enough. We will continue to work at it. I want this board to know that I appreciate the support that I have received, and I look forward to working with each of you next year from my District 5 seat, wherever that seat may end up. Okay, so now we will turn it over to the manager for her report.
Thank you. The second meeting of the Nash County America 250 Committee will meet this Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. at Braswell Memorial Public Library. So as we talked about earlier in today's meeting, that is open for anyone who has any interest. We have reached out to all areas of the county, to all of our towns for participation, and anyone is welcome that has an interest in participating in Nash County's America 250 Committee. That's this Wednesday at 6 p.m. at Braswell Memorial Public Library. And the county offices will be closed next Tuesday, November the 11th, in observation of Veterans Day. And as Commissioner Leggett announced, the Farm City Breakfast, Tuesday the 18th at 8 a.m. at the Ag Center. Nash County offices will also be closed on November the 27th and 28th in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. A reminder that the December meeting is scheduled for Monday the 8th. December does have first Monday of December the 1st, but we will be meeting for our December meeting on Monday the 8th. I think we did just mention this briefly, but I do want to say that I received an email over the weekend from a citizen in the southern part of the county that was concerned about hearing rumor of the Bailey Library closing, and that is not true. I sit on the Board of Trustees for the Braswell Memorial Public Library, who oversees our community libraries, and there's been no discussion on closing the Bailey Library. So if anybody would like to reach out to me to ask any questions about that, I'll be glad to speak with you. And then, and now I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Boone for a report on the Southern Nash Wastewater Committee.
Just a quick report. The committee met this past week on Wednesday in Middlesex to review the draft preliminary engineering report. That meeting went well, only a few minor comments. Did spend some time talking about allocations that were used to plan for a future regional wastewater plant and activity we have at the Middlesex Corporate Center. So we'll be working on that a little bit more. The next meeting in that committee is scheduled for November 19th at 3:30 p.m. We'll be back in Middlesex at the Middlesex Community Center. And all this is driving towards a final submittal of the preliminary engineering report and the environmental impact document to NCDEQ and Division of Water Infrastructure in March of next year. So work continues, and I feel like we're in a good spot. We're not quite as far along as we had hoped, but we'll continue to work through some regulatory issues with the state. But we anticipate we'll be able to submit the report at the end of the first quarter of 2026. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Boone. Madam Manager, do you have anything else?
No, sir.
Mr. Chair, Mayor Cliff, you said 27th and 28th at the Braswell Memorial Library, you're having a meeting that the public can come to?
This Wednesday at 6 p.m., there's a meeting at the library for the America 250 Committee.
Okay.
You good, Mr. Belfield?
Yeah,
Mr.
okay.
Chairman,
Mr. Wilson?
just one quick, some information from the county manager. I see Ms. DeVega here from Social Services. Has SNAP recipient benefits in Nash County, you're laughing, you're smiling, have that affected our...
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I did ask them to attend because I did want them to give the board an update. I apologize, that got away from me, but yes, we have Mr. Hill here, so I was getting some information about WIC as well as SNAP. And so if you two don't mind coming forward, and they do have some updated information to provide the board. My apologies.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
fine. I just wanted to know if it has affected them yet. Will it, are they living off partial benefits or what?
Good afternoon, Mr. Vega.
Good afternoon, everyone. So at this time, we have received instruction from the state that we are currently not processing benefits for November. I understand that there has been a federal ruling, but we have to wait to get guidance from the state on how we will proceed. And that federal ruling was to release emergency funding by the government. But at this time, we are not processing SNAP benefits.
And so as of November 1st, they have nothing on their card?
Yes, that's correct, unless they have something that carried over from October.
That carried over from, okay.
I wanted to give you just a little bit of information about the impact on Nash County residents. We have 16,765 individuals that participate in the SNAP program, and this was as of September. We haven't received the information yet for October. If you look at that in percentage-wise, that's 17.1%, roughly 1 in 6 people in Nash County that depend on those benefits. In September, we paid out $2.9 million in those benefits for Nash County. And so, as I stated, we've been instructed not to process those benefits, but we do have a contingency plan in place. That plan involves working with our local food banks. We've reached out to them to make sure that they're still operational. We also have referral forms that we pass out to our clients so that they can go and check in there and receive those food benefits. And just to look ahead, I wanted to provide you with a little bit of information about some changes that are coming in fiscal year 2027. With the benefits that are currently, when you look at our salaries for our staff, in November, and this is for the F&S staff specifically, those who process those benefits, we paid out $136,000, but we would receive a 50% reimbursement rate from the federal government. For fiscal year 2027, that will actually change. The government will no longer provide a 50% reimbursement rate. It will go down to 25%, and the county will be responsible for the other 75%. How we plan to address that is that we will budget the reduction in our revenues. And so that's currently where we are in those upcoming changes. I also wanted to talk with you about another program, which is called LEAP. This is our low-income energy assistance program. Those payments are designed to roll out on December the 1st, but the money that we're going to use for that is rollover funds from last year. This program is centered around paying out to adults and individuals with disabilities. We don't have any allotment for January. We haven't received any guidance from the state or the government on how we will proceed, but they will pay out on December the 1st with money that is left over from last year. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Any questions for Mr. Vega? Commissioner Wilkins?
I saw briefly when we went on break that there was something came down from Washington about maybe half of the SNAP benefits being loaded because of the judge's orders. Have you been notified of that?
We haven't received any guidance on that at this time, and to my understanding, the government would need to come up with a plan, and that can take anywhere from 5 to 7 days. But if that should happen, one of the good things is that we can go ahead and process those benefits the next business day.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I also, there is some impacts that I want to share with you all from the big, beautiful bill that has came out that will impact, I probably messed that up, but I want you all to have some information about that as well. It's called HR 1. And so at this time, I'm going to have the food and nutrition supervisor come up and give you a little bit of information. This way you will have it because it will impact our eligibility, our eligibility requirements. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Vega? Thank you, Mr. Vega.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Some of the impacts that will be made due to the HR 1, they refined the definition of ABODs, and ABODs means able-bodied adults without dependents. And this population will only receive 3 months' worth of food and nutrition benefits within the 3-year span. Right now, our 3-year span consists of January 2025 until December of 2027. So if that person doesn't meet the ABOT requirements, they will only receive 3 months' worth of food and nutrition benefits. They're required to work 20 hours or more. Prior to the HR 1, the age group for ABOTs was 18 years of age to 54. Now, due to the HR 1, the age group has increased from 18 years of age to 64 years of age. Prior, there were exemptions where veterans, the homeless population, and foster youth under 24 years of age were exempt from the ABOT requirements, but due to HR 1, they will be required to abide by the ABOT rules, which means that they would have to be working 20 hours or more to receive those food and nutrition benefits. Parents with children over the age of 14 will also be required to work 20 or more hours due to the ABOT changes. Another change that took place was due to HR 1 was any person, any household that was receiving the low energy assistance program, they were automatically given the deduction for the standard utility allowance. Now, due to HR 1, any household that has received LEAP, if they're not an aged individual or disabled, they'll no longer be able to get that deduction due to them receiving LEAP alone. Another exemption or impact that has been made is non-citizen eligibility due to HR 1. We don't have a whole lot of information because they're still trying to pull together the policy and which populations will be affected according to the non-citizens guidelines. So we're still waiting for the guidance from USDA to fully expand on what that means for the non-citizen eligibility for food and nutrition. I would also like to add about the SNAP program. This program is specifically for the individuals that 65 years or older and they receive SSI. And it's also a one-person household for food and nutrition purposes. The allotments have changed. Now, if a person is not responsible for rent that falls up under that SNAP, they only receive $104 in SNAP benefits. A person that's responsible for 1 cent to $199 in rent, they will only receive $145. And any individual under the SNAP program, if they pay $200 or more for rent, they will only receive $170, which is the max allotment for a SNAP household. Did you all have any questions for me?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Hill.
Good afternoon. I have a little better news with WIC, Women, Infants, Children's Nutritional Program. After talking with our WIC director on Friday and a state consultant on Friday, and even better, receiving an email this morning at 9:44 from the state, says, "Good morning, health directors. We're pleased to inform you that funding has been secured to support the continued operation of the Women's, Infants, and Children's WIC program through November 30th. The state has agreed to fill any gaps in funding through the end of the month. Please continue program operations as usual." So this is a $711,000 budget in Nash County in the health department. Just to give you an idea of the benefits, we are seeing approximately 2,250, maybe 225, but 2,250 number of women. That's more than 2,200 women and children every month that we see in the WIC program. The benefit statewide, it produces about $224 million statewide in groceries and different kinds of WIC voucher benefits. That comes out to, in June alone, $19 million. More specifically, in Nash County, when I looked at those figures, it generates about $2.5 million a year in Nash County in WIC voucher benefits that are expended at grocery stores. Or in June, $212,000. The last quarter, July, August, September, it's $675,000 in benefits derived from the WIC program. So for now, we feel like we're pretty secure at least through November 30th. I would make provisions to, we've looked already, if there are cutbacks, we would cut back first on contracted services before we try to deal with the salaried individuals we have in the program. On a just a little different level, we are looking at a Medicaid reimbursement reduction this year of 3%. That's better than hospitals and skilled nursing facilities at 10%, but, which is a lot of money if you look at UNC Nash and the Medicaid total. Our Medicaid totals for the health department somewhere between $2.6 and $3 million a year. If you say $3 million, we're looking at about a $90,000 cut. We can absorb that. It's not something we'd rather have a 3% increase, but we certainly feel like we'll be able to absorb a $90,000 reduction in Medicaid reimbursement in the coming year. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Madam Manager, do you have anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, I now call for a motion to go into closed session for economic development, attorney-client privilege, and personnel.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wilkins, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leggett. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. We will now move to closed session. Do we expect any action out of closed section?
No, sir.
Thank you very much. All right, I want to call the regular meeting back to order. We've got one action item from closed session. We'll call on Commissioner Davis to present the request. Commissioner Davis?
Someone in there?
Yes.
Lights aren't right.
Yeah, but we're good. He gave us thumbs up.
Okay. All right, during the closed session, we did have a personnel matter to come up that was discussed by the board. And at this time, I'd like to make a motion, and the personnel matter was along the lines of continue to try to improve the operation of our Pet Connection, the Nash County Animal Control Facility. And what the board discussed was potentially adding a new kennel attendant coordinator in the grade of 105 on our current pay plan. And at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve that additional county employee kennel attendant coordinator, and it would fall under the pay grade of 105.
All right, you've heard that motion. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leggett. I'm not going to call for any discussion because we've discussed it thoroughly in the back. So with that said, all in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. That motion passes. All right, that concludes our business for today. So is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner Wilkins. Is there a second by Commissioner Belfield? All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. We're now adjourned.